welcome Your Excellencies. Please, to get started, we will stand together as we take the national anthem. The anthem, please. Please, we will take the Akwa Ibom State anthem. Please, I'll crave our indulgence to stand for another 1 minute as we hand this event over to God in prayers. The Reverend Dr. Socio-Economic to please accept to lead us as we pray.
Shall we pray together? Our precious and great God, the one who began yourself and met us in your image. We have come today because you've called us to come. We thank you, Lord, for making this day a reality. We thank you, Father, for your servant whom you have given to us as a gift, His Excellency, the Governor, Pastor Dr. Baseno, to lead this state at a time like this. We thank you for this gathering, which through the initiative you've given to him, we have gathered to listen to some of the things people may not have known and how these things have impacted the state to give us greater joy and hope for the future. Father, we ask that because you brought us safely, as we stay, you shall continue to lead us. And at the end of this meeting, we shall go back gloriously, to the glory of your name and the testimony to your name too, and the benefit of mankind. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor, and welcome yet again to all of us. Your Excellency and Your Excellencies, I welcome all of us this morning to a very strategic engagement, which is the public presentation of the socio-economic impact of the Arise agenda in the last 2 years. His Excellency, our Governor, is a man who believes deeply in appraisals and self-appraisals and audits of progress. And today he has gone a step further, not just to internally appraise himself, but to put himself on the scale and have all of us judge how far he has come thus far. Before we go full swing into the event of today, please allow that I take another 2 or 3 minutes to acknowledge the leaders who are here in this ensemble this morning. I want to welcome all of us first to put our hands together, celebrate and welcome the man carrying the vision and the leader of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Umoino, PhD, Governor of Akwa Ibom State. Thank you very much. We acknowledge the brass band who would come back somewhere at the end for want of time. We acknowledge the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Her Excellency Distinguished Senator Dr. Mrs. Akone Yagayi. Please can we celebrate her? Let me also acknowledge respectfully the Chief Judge of Akwa Ibom State, who is also seated. Please can we celebrate her? Honorable Justice Ekaite Obot, we celebrate your esteemed presence. Let me acknowledge respectfully our leaders who are here. Of course, as you know, they are here to support and, of course, to promote the vision of His Excellency the Governor and to also see what has been going on in Akwa Ibom State in the last 2 years. Let me welcome the Honorable Minister Budget and National Planning, who is here in Akwa Ibom State today. Please, can we celebrate His Excellency Atiku Bagudu? Please, can we put our hands together to celebrate him? We welcome you and we are truly honored to have you in Akwa Ibom State. Let me acknowledge our own minister, the one who works with him in Abuja, His Excellency. Let me acknowledge the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Gas, Obongebe, Ekbo. Please, can we put our hands together to celebrate him? Thank you so much. We honor and appreciate you. From the Governors Forum, before we move over to other dignitaries who are here, let me acknowledge the representative of the Governors Forum who is here in Akwa Ibom State today, Professor Abba Gambo, who is the Agric Advisor, Nigeria Governors Forum. We welcome you, and we're truly, truly honored to have you in Akwa Ibom State. I honor all distinguished senators and members of the National Assembly who are here this morning. We acknowledge distinguished Senator Ekong Samson on behalf of all the other members of the National Assembly. If I take a little more time, let me acknowledge respectfully distinguished Senator Emmanuel Libogesien, distinguished Senator Effiong Dixon Bob, distinguished Senator Aloysius Setuk, and their spouse. Please, can we put our hands together to celebrate all of them? Of course, also from the Green Chambers, also seated here this morning, we acknowledge all members of the House of Representatives of the National Assembly. Obong Paul Ekbo is here. Please, can we celebrate him? The Honorable Martins Hazen is also present. We acknowledge you. The Right Honorable Emil Kohn is also here. And of course, Honorable Dr. Patrick Umor. Please, can we put our hands together to celebrate all of them? Thank you so much for finding time to be here. I acknowledge the Director General of Campaigns, Nigeria's former ambassador to the State of Russia, His Excellency Chief Assam Assam, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. We are very delighted to have you in our midst. Your Excellency, let me acknowledge respectfully all members of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly who have joined us here. We acknowledge all of you. I acknowledge respectfully also the Secretary to the government of Akwa Ibom State, Prince Enobongowa. Please, can you put our hands together to celebrate him? The Head of the Civil Service, Elder Effiong Essien, is also here. The Chief Delivery Advisor, Mr. Nefjok Johnson, is also here. Please, can we celebrate all of them? I acknowledge respectfully all honorable commissioners as I begin to engage the reverse gears, because the protocol would be rather too long if I want to exhaust all the people who ought to be honored. But I acknowledge all commissioners who are here. We appreciate your presence. Let me use the honorable commissioner in charge of the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning in Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Dr. Linus Nkan, to acknowledge all of them. Please, can we put our hands together to celebrate him? Please, through you, we acknowledge all commissioners who are here. I acknowledge all our leaders, all our elders. Distinguished Senator Bishop Helen Eswene, seated to this side, and of course, distinguished Senator Effiong Essien. We acknowledge all of you, and we appreciate your esteemed presence. I acknowledge all the leaders, the stakeholders of the Akwa Ibom State project who have come out here. So many of you. Time would fail me to begin to acknowledge all of you by name, but I think beyond contention, the oldest of them all, who is always here to support the vision of His Excellency Pastor Moino. Please, can we acknowledge and celebrate Abong M.A. Afangide? Please, can we put our hands together to celebrate him? Please, we acknowledge all the others who are here, and we truly appreciate all of you. Your Excellency, some strategic partners, some strategic guests have joined us here. Let me acknowledge, because what we're doing here today has great pinnings with the statistics in Akwa Ibom State, from Akwa Ibom State to the nation. Let me acknowledge the Statistician General of the Federation, who is represented by Chief Austin Ayakora. Please, can we put our hands together to celebrate him wherever he's seated? We acknowledge your presence, and we're very happy to have all of you. Thank you so much. As I really begin to end, let me turn to my left as I acknowledge those who have come as panelists and other strategic partners at this event. Can we please put our hands together to celebrate and welcome Professor Akpan Ogan Ekpo. Please, can we celebrate him? We're truly honored to have you, and we appreciate your presence. Former Vice Chancellor of the University of Iwu, a renowned economist. There is no one who knows anything about economics in Nigeria who wouldn't know this great man. Let us also acknowledge respectfully Mrs. Nancy Ilonanji, who has also joined us here. Please, can you put our hands together to celebrate and thank you. We also want to acknowledge Mr. Terry Ikuni, who is also in the building. We acknowledge you. Thank you very much. And of course, Your Excellency, a great man who has come to join us in the happy hour state, even if I say so. Please, can we celebrate Dr. Ruben Abati and spouse? Please, can we celebrate him? Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me plead to punctuate here on the introductions, not because we've exhausted all the honors we have, but because we came here for serious business, and what I just did is not as serious as the serious things that are to come. But because I honor and respect you. By the way, before we end, let me acknowledge the lead presenter for today, Professor Chris Ekong. Please, can you put our hands together to celebrate him? And with that singular applause, can you please put your hands together, celebrate yourself wherever it is you are seated. Please, can you celebrate yourselves? Celebrate yourselves. We truly honor all of you and all our guests who are here. We thank you and we truly do appreciate you. Your Excellency, moving further, we want to have the Secretary to the Government of Akwa Ibom State, Prince Enobongowa, to please accept to step forward to set the tone for our deliberations today. Please, can we celebrate the SSG?
Your Excellency, our leader, Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Umoino. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Senator Akone Yarayi, my Lord, the Chief Judge, members of the National Assembly, the Honorable Ministers for Budget and Planning and Petroleum Gas, our son. Our leaders, states, both in the state and nationally, ladies and gentlemen. On May 29, 2023, His Excellency Pastor Umoino took the solemn oath of office to lead the good people of Akwa Ibom State with a clear and courageous blueprint, the Arise Agenda. Today, as we gather for the public presentation of the socio-economic impact of the agenda, the theme for this engagement, measuring progress and deepening impact, compels both celebration and introspection. The Arise Agenda is not a mere slogan. It is a governing philosophy, a bold and deliberate roadmap anchored on conviction and clarity of purpose. It is a developmental compass guiding our shared journey towards a better state. The Arise is an acronym for agricultural revolution, rural development, infrastructure and industrialization, security management, educational advancement, and economic empowerment. The agenda has 17 aspirations, thoughtfully articulated to serve as a guide in the strategic development of our state. 2 years into this journey, we gather not merely to report, but to reflect. This public presentation is a moment of introspection, a time to pause, to measure, to ask the hard questions that strengthen institutions and sharpen focus. It is also a celebration of courage, the courage to ask the right questions at the right time. Some of the questions we are here to ask and answer are we truly building what we promised when we're campaigning? Are we still leading in alignment with the principles and promises of the Arise Agenda? How far have we gone? Are we making good, steady, or truly transformative progress? What roadblocks remain on the path to full implementation? And more importantly, what must we do differently to not only steer the course, but to exceed expectation? On a personal note, I'd like to commend His Excellency Pastor Umoino, not only for his unwavering commitment to the Arise Agenda, but also for initiating this bold and reflective exercise. It is far easier to wait until the end of a tenure to present results, but it takes true leadership to open the books halfway, to weigh oneself on the scale, and invite others to look, listen, and speak. That, to me, is a spirit of servant leadership. It reminds me of Christ, who once asked his disciples, "Who do men say that I am?" Not after the resurrection, but before. Before the climax, before the full glory. So today, I invite all of us as stakeholders in this great Akwa Ibom project to engage with open hearts, open minds, and sincere intentions. When the floor opens for deliberation, let us speak not merely as critics or spectators, but as collaborators, contributors, and co-builders. For at the end of the day, Akwa Ibom belongs to all of us. And together, under the visionary leadership of His Excellency Pastor Moino, we can and we will arise to build the state of our collective dreams. Thank you for coming. Sit back and enjoy this session.
Thank you very much, the Secretary to the Government of Akwa Ibom State. Be reminded, especially for those of us who have joined us on our live broadcasts, that this event is a public presentation of the socio-economic impact of the Arise agenda in the last 2 years. And it is the initiative of His Excellency, the Governor, where he puts himself, his actions, his policies on a scale and has invited all of us to join in their appraisal. Your Excellency, we've come to one of the most important moments here, where we will be listening and hearing from the vision, from the man who indeed brought the Arise agenda to bear and who has worked in the last 2 years to ensure its implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please put your hands together as we welcome His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, for his address at these events.
Thank you so much. Please, let's take our seats. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, distinguished Senator Kone Yayi, my Lord the Chief Judge of Akwa Ibom State, Your Excellencies, the Honorable Minister for Budget and Economic Planning, thank you for honoring us with your presence. Your Excellency, our son, the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Gas, all other dignitaries that are here, please permit me that I just abridge the protocols. I've seen our development partners, Tony Blair Institute, United Nations Development projects. We've seen Governors Forum representatives, all our guests. We've seen critical stakeholders, members of the fourth estate of the realm. I'm so privileged to see Dr. Ruben Abati today, and your lovely wife, and Terry, Nancy, everybody that have joined us. Thank you so much, Prof. Oganekpo, for cutting back your trip just to be here with us. We couldn't have done without you, as you only go to steal what you don't have. We cannot have you in the state as a very renowned economist, and we go looking for one. So thank you for honoring us with your presence. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the lead presenter, Professor Chris Ekong, for working with us to ensure that we partner with the university. Prof is my dean, and once a dean is always a dean, is my oga. So he's the lead presenter today, and he's familiar with the figures, and I've queried those figures over and over again. I think I felt like I was presenting my thesis again, you know. But thank you so much for accepting. But let me please, on behalf of all of us, acknowledge our father, over 100 years, Chief Afangide, for always being by our side and standing and supporting us. It gives us the joy to always be here, and we are grateful. I want to thank everyone that have made it here today, our critical stakeholders, our leaders. The chairman of my party, the All Progressive Congress, is here. The chairman of our party, the People's Democratic Party, is here. The chairman of our party's IPAC is here. And that shows that this is a state project. We must be able to draw a distinction between having a state project and a party project. This is a state project, and as we say here in Akwa Ibom, it is Akwa Ibom United. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We are gathered here this morning in fulfillment of the promise I made in my inaugural speech to occasionally invite our people, our stakeholders, the larger political class, the media, civil society, and the corporate Nigeria to present our scorecard so they may know where we are going as a state and how we have so far utilized the resources available to us to advance the vision of our governance blueprints, the Arise agenda. This event with the theme, Measuring Progress, Deepening Impact, can be likened to a first-half review where we pause to take stock of our progress so far, ask questions, assess impact through data representations, and look for ways of improvement where gaps may have been dictated. It is an opportunity to open up ourselves to receive contributions from those that we serve. It was the famed Austrian-American management expert, Peter Drucker, who once said that you can't improve what you can't measure. Let me thank the Secretary to the State Government, Prince Enobonwa, the Executive Assistant and Chief Delivery Advisor, Mr. Nephew Johnson, the Honorable Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, Dr. Linus Nkan, Statistician General of our state, the lead presenter, Professor Chris Ekong, and indeed the entire team that have gotten together in the last 1 month for to produce the work we're about to distill this morning. Let me thank members of the Executive Council for working steadily to give us data as it has to do with their key ministries. And today, we are here to distill this important statistical document that details our achievements across sectors in the last 2 years. We are a government that is data-driven, which is why the State House of Assembly expeditiously signed into law the bill we had sent to establish a standalone Bureau of Statistics. The bill was signed into law by me some months ago. Let me again thank the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Right Honorable Udemo Tong, and the honorable members for their great cooperation and collaboration. We are also, by this event, demonstrating in practical and concrete terms our passionate commitment to transparency and accountability. I've been variously accused of not throwing money around on frivolous undertakings. Well, that may be true, but the question I would like to ask is, would you prefer me to fritter away the resources of the state on things that have no redeeming value, or rather on those undertakings that improve our living conditions? I'm sure your answer will be no. One of the first things I did shortly after I came into office was to set up an internal evaluation team domiciled in my office to help streamline and eliminate wastages in our procurement processes. This has remained one of the ways where governments have always overspent themselves. Through the great work this team has done, we have saved the state billions of naira in contract procurement. We have redefined policy procurement implementation plan, and we have set up the policy procurement law that have helped us to follow steadily our procurement, execute our procurement policies. We're executing audacious projects, providing social services. We've built so far over 205 Arise Compassionate Homes across the length and breadth of this state for the less privileged, for people that when you see their living condition, you will know that they deserved our intervention. Our target, by the grace of God, in this first term will be 400 houses. But just last week when we did the review, my senior special assistant on Direct Labor Committee, Barrister Morgan, told me we can do 500. I hope he keeps to his words. We are paying down backlog of gratuities from where we met it. And these gratuities date back to 2012. And today, from 90 billion or thereabout, we've drawn down to 78 billion. We are almost getting there and bringing the state back up to speed. We are providing funds for our retirees to access medical care and to be able to live a life they are so envisioned, even in these hard times. We are building economic viable roads and bridges. We bought 2 brand new CRJ 900 Bombardier aircraft, and payment was done outright from the state covers. We have taken delivery of 2 Airbus 200/300 series. We are getting the international terminal at the Victor Atta International Airport ready for operations, and meeting all other obligations to Ibom Air and the larger aviation ecosystem. Model primary healthcare centers are being built across the state. Healthcare delivery services are being improved and expanded, with free medical services extended to various layers of our society, especially the most vulnerable under our RISE medical insurance scheme. I have been briefed that so far we have over 130,000 people that have been registered under the scheme. And this is just about, we started over a year ago. Just yesterday, we commissioned the first mother and child hospital in Ibom local government area, a project that shows President Tinubu's passionate dedication to tackling mother-child mortality rate, especially those in the rural areas. We are building tourism assets all over the state. Chief among them is the Arise Resort, which upon completion will be the mini Disneyland of Nigeria. The Honorable Commissioner for Information will ensure that some of you get to visit the Arise Resort and see for yourself how resources can be applied for the common good. The land upon which the Arise Resort sits used to be a gully erosion-ravaged ravine, which by now would have actually consumed the government house. We are priming Akwa Ibom State beyond oil with other strategic investments in tourism, blue and digital economies. The Managing Director, Chief Executive of Akwa Ibom Investment Corporation will be making a presentation later today on investment opportunities that we have created in the state. The various projects executed by government across sectors. Through various projects we have executed across sectors, we have created jobs. We have gotten thousands of our people out of poverty in line with the SDG goals. We have looked into such cases as children out of school, which has been one of the statistical data we do not agree with the National Bureau of Statistics. Given our free and compulsory education in our public schools, from primary to secondary, and generous grants and bursaries given to our students in tertiary institutions, today we'll present our data and would like to engage with the MBS on how to correct some of these data, which I just believe that we can engage. We can look at the modus operandi, so we can come to the same level, and our state could see, and people could see how we have progressed. It is not too good to consistently carry on with the data that we have collected, maybe 2020, 2021. We have made some significant improvement, and we are prepared to have that engagement. The interventions we have made have led to continuous improvement in our school enrollment. Thousands of our people are also being lifted from poverty through the provision of social services and employment opportunities, generous business and farmers grants, and other empowerment schemes given to our youth. Through our intervention and in distribution of stable free food items drawn from the social register, we have ensured that our people, especially the most vulnerable, are able to take care of their critical food needs, while we encourage them to go back to the farm. We have instituted such programs as farmers grants. We have instituted such programs as home garden competition, where every one of us have farms in our homes and gardens. All the vegetables I eat in government house comes from my personal farm. And if I could have a farm, everyone here could have a garden farm. There's no need to complain that pepper, tomato, okra is on the increase. When our grandparents, our forebears, had home gardens where they could easily stroll in and take these products and cook and even make the food very fresh. So we'll continue to encourage our people to go back to the farm. Over 50 audacious projects are currently ongoing in our state, apart from roads. And we are doing all this without borrowing one single dime from the banks. These projects are fully funded because we have decided that we'll use the resources of Akwa Ibom State to work for Akwa Ibom people, not for individual groups or interests. We must thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's led administration for making funding available to state government, and this has helped us to close the gap and to ensure that we work with our people. But just like the Bible in Philippians chapter 3 verse 13 to 14 says, we are not resting on our oars. We are pressing forward, not counting what we have already collectively achieved or may have achieved, but with renewed hope for what lies ahead, especially with our progressive movement to the center. Let me use the opportunity again to thank the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, for the leadership he has provided, and for ensuring that we at the subnational levels have the resources to fund our projects. It deserves our support to continue with these his laudable reforms and good work for the nation. I am very proud to stand behind President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And Akwa Ibom is proud too. We decided to present this quantitative data analysis mainly, as I stated before, to show how we have utilized the resources to impact lives, and also to present the true picture of our statistical data that is authentic and verifiable. Today, we are here to answer and provide the right perspective. We are honored to have the immediate past Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, University of Uyo, Professor Chris Ekong, who will shortly take us through what we have recorded in all our sectors in the Arise agenda, and where we are going in the next 2 years, and by the grace of God, by the support of the Akwa Ibom people, in the next 6 years. Through this presentation, you will see how we have impacted the lives of our people across sectors, presented immeasurable and verifiable authentic data. Like I said, we are open to comments, we are open to suggestions, we are open to take in, we are even open to criticism with solutions. I like criticism because it's what sparks the glow inside of us. But I like criticism to come with suggestions. Sometimes it's easier to drink water from a cup and you think water is good. But the day you are thrown into the ocean, you know that that same water can consume you. So when you criticize, come with solution. Let's reason together. Even God himself said, come, let us reason together. Like the Secretary to Government said, Akwa Ibom State belongs to all of us. And Akwa Ibom State is a beacon of hope for our people. And and the rest of the nation. So there is a need for us to get it right. Akwa Ibom State has remained one of the most peaceful states in this country. And I want to especially thank members of the security team that have worked so hard to ensure that we have a peaceful state. Our security agencies, they work in collaboration. You don't see that unhealthy rivalry amongst them. We wanted, of course, without security, all of the things we have achieved couldn't have been possible. Statistics have indicated that we continue to score an all-time low in cases of kidnapping, armed robbery, and cult activities. It happens once in a while, but if you look at the record from 2023 till now, you know that it's been extremely, extremely low. There has been minimal disruptions in the operation of IOCs. There's been so much minimal. We've had little or no cases of pipeline vandalization in Akwa Ibom State. And this is the work of our security agencies. Let me thank the Honorable Commissioner, Internal Security and Waterways, General Koko Essien, for helping us coordinate his colleagues and giving us the right impetus to work. We want to thank you. Intra and intercommunal disputes have reduced tremendously, and we continue to have this achievement because of the significant improvement in intelligence-led community policing, as well as collaboration with other security agencies. Our Ibom Community Watch is doing a great, great work and will soon be completing a line of recruitment. So all of this, we have worked together as a people. We are harnessing the people. When it comes to matter of state, we approach governance from an all-inclusive standpoint. Yes, we have our different political parties, but when it comes to the development of Akwa Ibom State, we are first Akwa Ibomites. And that is why I continue to thank our political party leaders for having this understanding that we play politics with a human face. We play politics not to vilify people, but to bring out issues and to discuss and give the Akwa Ibom people the opportunity to decide what they want for themselves. And that's why consistently we have brought and lowered the temperature of political rhetorics in our state. In conclusion, I would like the Nigerian National Bureau of Statistics to work with us. I believe they will accurately capture the gains we have made in this state in the last 2 years, and our drive to provide more transparent and people-centric governance for our people. We'd like our development partners to work with us and to let us look at the model we'll continue to use and that is acceptable globally to improve the life and well-being of our people. But I dare conclude by saying that Akwa Ibom is indeed rising. The fundamentals for growth are rock solid. Investment opportunities abound, and we invite you to come, live, invest, and thrive in this great land. And like Dr. Ruben Abati Urieko, let's have the happy hour only when we have finished working and there's always time to rest, because all work without play makes us dull people. The happy hour is meant for people who have worked hard and you are permitted to rest. I close with a Yoruba proverb that says, "Ọmọ tó bá ń ṣiṣẹ́ déédéé, ó yẹ kó lásìkò ìgbádùn, ìgbà tó ń fi jayé." Thank you and welcome. God bless you.
Please, can we applaud His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, we appreciate you for the great work that you have done. On a light note, Your Excellency, if it is not that we all know that you're supporting His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, wholeheartedly, with the fluency in how you speak the Yoruba language, we would have thought that you would be the President of the country in 2027. But we know where you stand, and we know why you stand where you stand. We'll move on to take the next item on the agenda for today, which will be for us to listen to watch a short documentary on the achievements of His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Moino's late administration in the last 2 years. But it's of the Arise agenda in the last 2 years.
Since May 29, 2023, when Governor Omoino, PhD, took over the reins at the Hilltop Mansion, marking the beginning of the golden era, there has been an unusual upward pull, propelling the state to the front burners of national and global conversations, a testament to resolve, purpose, resilience, and vision. Governor Omoino, who, on assumption of office, launched the ambitious and clinically delivered Arise agenda, is consciously knitting the state together in a fabric of prosperity, unity, and inclusion. From agriculture and rural development to infrastructural expansion, security management, and educational advancement, the state has evolved through the 5 pillars and 17 focal areas of the Arise agenda into a leading socio-economic front on the African continent, constantly opening up to promising vistas. Across demographics, women, youth, the elderly, the vulnerable, and people with disabilities, everyone has found a platform where their concerns are not only heard, but prioritized. Hitherto unreached communities are now singing redeemable tunes, transitioning from despair to hope. His promise to lead a state where every worthwhile dream can be fulfilled is daily reaffirmed by his focus on building people as his greatest legacy. With a bag full of impactful achievements, Governor Omoino, in the galaxy of Nigeria's political elites, stands out, pointing the world to the gains of massive investments in a magnitude that has brought significant socio-economic improvement in the lives of the citizenry. In education, a network of smart classrooms, model schools, teacher welfare interventions are nurturing a knowledge-driven generation prepared to compete globally, occasioning in its wake significant increase in school enrollment and continued reduction in the number of out-of-school children. The world-class health centers across the 31 local government areas have been widely adjudged revolutionary as more people are beginning to access Medicare through the health insurance program of the state government, which has recorded over 122,000 enrollments in less than 1 year. While other strategic investments in re-equipping and repurposing secondary health facilities, as well as the upcoming 350-bed international hospital with 29 departments, is designed to make the state Nigeria's preferred healthcare hub. In economic empowerment, the results speak. Over 30,000 citizens have been actively engaged in various economic activities, reducing unemployment and boosting the productivity index of the state. With over 770 kilometers of economically viable road networks, the medical corridor is getting the structural alignments it needs. The once overlooked maritime ecosystem is now receiving long overdue attention and strategic investment. Welfare has reached a scale never witnessed before, enhancing livelihoods across board. Various cadre of the workforce confirm they've never had it this good. vulnerable citizens, and now proud homeowners. Elderly people, through gratuity payments and social support schemes, are experiencing fresh breaths of dignity. Under the Arise agenda, agriculture has received a powerful boost. With the Igbo Model Farm, distribution of free improved seedlings and inputs, alongside numerous empowerment schemes, including the Enterprise Development Program of Ibom Land, Farmers Grant, Traders Grant, MSMEs Grant, and equipment support to entrepreneurs. The economies of many homes and businesses have been given wings to fly. The Arise Resort, a bold and multifaceted tourism facility, raised from the over 70 hectares of reclaimed gullies to bright destination prospects, affirm that there is something for everyone in Governor Umoino's vision, where people from all over the world can now find in Akwa Ibom a warm destination for business and recreation. Governor Umoino has reinforced Akwa Ibom's status as a hub for aviation and economic growth. Through aviation development, such as the acquisition of 4 new aircraft for Ibom Air and the execution of 10 ongoing projects within the aviation ecosystem. These include the completion of a world-class international terminal building, taxiway, airport security and surveillance system, medical facility, and more, firmly positioning the state for increased air traffic and investment. To enhance the safety of lives and property, the administration has procured modern security gunboats and patrol vehicles to strengthen both coastal and internal surveillance capabilities, in addition to ongoing construction of a security control and command center. In the transport sector, plans are well on the way for the rollout of compressed natural gas CNG-powered city buses, alongside the construction of modern terminals and a central maintenance center, marking a significant leap towards cleaner, more efficient urban mobility. More so, the governor has prioritized workers' welfare and shown great support for labor by approving a new minimum wage of 80,000 naira. He has also committed 78 billion naira so far towards clearing a backlog of over 92 billion naira in pensions and gratuities for retired workers, reaffirming his dedication to a government that truly cares for its people. But beyond the much already achieved, even grander projects are in the pipeline, poised to transform the state into a regional hub and investment beacon. These include Senior Citizen Center, Command and Control Center, Judiciary Village, Aviation Village, Doctors' Quarters, Equipment Leasing Company, International Market, Renal Medical and Dialysis Centers, model public secondary schools in each senatorial district, mother and child hospital, 100-hectare farm settlements in the 3 senatorial districts. These projects, among others, are carefully designed to consolidate progress and deepen impact. Governor Umoino's spectacular performance has not gone unnoticed. He has been decorated with multiple global and national honors, including African Leadership Magazine Governor of the Year, Africa Lifetime Achievement Award for Good Governance, This Day Newspaper Arise TV Governor of the Year 2024, Leadership Newspaper Governor of the Year 2024, Telegraph Newspaper Governor of the Year 2024, Trade Union Congress Most Labor-Friendly Governor, and Nigeria Union of Journalists Most Media-Friendly Governor. On fiscal responsibility, financial transparency, and prudent management of resources, Governor Eno has evolved a standard that sets Akwa Ibom ahead in fiscal discipline. Stakeholders and leaders across a wide spectrum of interests agree that Akwa Ibom State has earned its seat at the global table of good and responsive governance, with Governor Umoino as a beacon of hope and brighter prospects for the future. These and many more have significantly enhanced productivity and impacted the quality of livelihood of the people. Our journey thus far elevates the widely held and accepted consensus that Akwa Ibom is in safe hands and will keep rising. With Governor Umoino, better days are indeed here.
Thank you very much, the multimedia team, and thank you very much, Your Excellency, Pastor Umoino, for the great work that you're doing in Akwa Ibom State. Your Excellency, if a mother would have to talk about his or her child, it is expected that the mother would embellish the child and, of course, make the child beautiful. So there is a tendency for people to think that most of the things you have said, or even the documentary has played, which is produced by members of your team, are the words of a mother, which would embellish the child. But we're going to take another item that will take the narrative a little bit beyond Your Excellency. To now be the words of an officious bystander, oppressing as it were Yoruba proverb spoken by His Excellency. Don't ask me to repeat the proverb, but take the meaning. The meaning is that if a child works hard and works hard enough to bring result, that the father, no matter how strict, should allow the child sometime to also play. It's more of a deeper, presentation of the popular aphorism that all work without play makes Jack a dull boy. Maybe if we all walked in Akwa Ibom State and there was no time for happy hour, walk by song etieti. Your Excellency, as we take the next item now, two idioms, two expressions combine to highlight what we are about to do now in leadership. The first is that it is often said that if a man wants to conduct an orchestra properly, he must back the audience. And it is said so that you are not distracted by what the audience is saying. You just focus on your work, which is what leadership is supposed to be about. But yet, another proverb comes to say that when a woman is dancing, she doesn't know the alignment of her back, which also calls the leader to frequently turn to the back to ask those who were watching, how did I dance? So today in this auditorium, we have a governor who has conducted the orchestra and has oftentimes not looked back to ensure that the sheep Akwa Ibom is selling. But today he also understands the need to look back to ensure that he is dancing properly and that his back is not open. But he's not doing that by calling a member of his team, maybe the Commissioner for Information, to come to speak to us. The gentleman who is the lead presenter today holds a PhD in economics. But that is not all, Your Excellency. This gentleman that is to present the socio-economic impact of the Arise agenda in the last 2 years has been in and out of public service. He's not just the immediate past dean of your faculty, but he's a man who has been commissioner in Akwa Ibom State and has served in various government parastatals within or between the years 2001 to 2009. He has been a commissioner. He has been chairman of several boards. He has been a member of the Revenue and Mobilization Committee. And Your Excellency, he has even been appointed by President Muhammadu Buhari to serve as a member on the Socio-Economic Impact Board in this particular country. And I say all of this to say that the man who is about to appraise His Excellency the Governor today knows his onion. He understands how to determine and measure the socio-economic impact of any growing economy. He has done it before, and he is about to do it again. Your Excellency, please, this may not be press singing. this will be real, which is why I think you didn't want your commissioner to make this presentation. It is now for us to hear from the lead presenter, a very renowned economist, someone from outside who has judged the Arise agenda in the last 2 years. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if your hands are not busy, please put them together as we welcome Professor Christopher Ekong as he accepts to come forward for the lead presentation of the socio-economic impacts of the Arise agenda in the last 2 years.
Please bring it down. I'm not a tall man. Thank you very much. Our dear Governor of Akwa Ibom State, His Excellency Umar Bassi Eno, PhD. The Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Honorable Ministers, distinguished members of the National Assembly, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, I come here today to continue my work in assessing you. And that, rightly, I will do. If I have the pointer, I would like it, but if you have it, you can go on. I want to look at the Arise agenda. And in your document, in our state document, this agenda is a socio-economic blueprint of this governor and his administration. And the agenda is aimed at the rapid transformation of the developmental fortunes of Akwa Ibom State. And it is anchored on 5 pillars and 17 focal points. This is what we're going to look at today. Your Excellency, and all of us in this banquet hall, for me, the overall goals of the Arise agenda is nothing but to build for Akwa Ibom State a smart, resilient, and diversified economy anchored on robust, innovative strategies. That is what I discovered from what you are doing in this state. You are building nothing but a very smart economy. And when I looked beyond the books, I noticed that at the midterm of the implementation of the Arise agenda, sir, you've not borrowed any money, and you told us earlier today, and you've been saying it. I looked through all the books. I didn't see you borrow money. Something touched me. So my probe indicates the feat is expressly occasioned by fiscal discipline of the state government, indicated by fiscal transparency, which is timely report of accounting of your accounts, strict monitoring and compliance with procurement procedures, which you just said, which reduces leakages from government revenue and budgetary discipline, where this government aligns its expenditure with budgetary provisions. And in my assessment, I want to look at the inputs and outputs of the Arise agenda. You've spent some money. Has it brought anything home? You've said so, but I want to look at it. And let us look at it together in this house. So we take the first focal point, which is in the first strategy or agenda, which is agricultural revolution. The objective, you have said, as indicated in the Arise document, is to promote sustainable agriculture as a critical sector of the state's economy, to achieve food security and end hunger, and therefore improve nutrition. And agricultural programs that Arise agenda has implemented with benefits derived. The first one I saw was the multiplication seed farm plantation, which is robustly implemented by your agency through Minister of Agriculture. And what are the inputs or the outputs of this? First of all, the input. There's also your provision of agricultural processing machines, 25,060. Beneficiaries from grants that you've given in that sector, agricultural sector, 2,322. Quantity of farm inputs, 327,000. And processing machines, 13,060. And from that document, the total amount there is about 1.8 billion. That is what we've sunk in as input. What's the output? The outputs have been skilled and unskilled labor employed, 884. Farm inputs beneficiaries who are doing farming now, 40,900. Crop produced, we measure it in tons. We measure in the tonnage of crop produced. We have 2.07 million, and fish produced in numbers, 2.762 million. That is what is happening in the state, which you have said NBS should come and work with our state to see that something is happening in Akwa Ibom State. And if you look at the table below, we summarize the number of farmers and farm produce, which includes, like we have stated, for crop, for fish, and for livestock. That is the estimated market value of what these sectors produce. Let us look at the impact of what has happened in the agricultural sector. There is increase in agricultural productivity, which has made the prices of agricultural products to go down. And with this, it beats down food price inflation. There is also rural development through improved access. The access we've made to these rural areas and improved access to them, to the communities, due to government intentional building of rural roads to access farm settlements and rural markets. Then, that is done for agriculture. The great leap that we have seen in the past 2 years. We have not even gotten to the third year. You know, it is only now we are planting. When we start harvesting, more is going to come. The rain will fall in Akwa Ibom. And not bad rain, but good rain. That's what I've seen from your documents. In tourism, I was wondering whether you had a second after reading your documents and seeing the things you have done in tourism. The objective of your tourism blueprint is to develop the tourism and hospitality sector by leveraging the rich sociocultural heritage of the state, making the state the estate or a tourist destination in the country. The additional objective is to maintain and advertise tourism sites in the state. Because we intend to make Akwa Ibom, from your document, you intend to make Akwa Ibom a destination and not a place where people just come and pass and go. That is why you've just told us, you will see later in a presentation what you have turned a ravine to be, where people are going to play golf now in ravine. and even stay there and enjoy themselves. So the key projects undertaken by the RISE agenda include construction of Unity Park with a 20,000-seater amphitheater in Uyo, construction of a RISE resort in Uyo, restoration of old slave boats at Marina, Waniba, Uran, Ibom Towers in Lagos, and Ibom Hotels in Abuja. Then the 5,000 capacity Ibom Convention Center at Ibom Hotels and Shopping City. That is the table indicates the tourism activities that takes place in our state. In 2023, we had the initial, what we call Christmas Unplugged. The first Christmas Unplugged saw 1,700 people being employed, tourists that came into the state in that year, 1.5 million, and we had 30 artists, kiosks, open space. But in 2024, you see the leap. And if you talk in percentages, it's more than 10%. That was just the first year. And we hope that this year, figures will triple. If we talk about our airport, you see the increase in the number of people coming into Akwa Ibom State, boarding and disembarking from Akwa Ibom, that it is increasing. It means that there's something that is attracting people into the state. And we know by the time we draw the statistics for this year, we're going to have more numbers coming into this state by boarding and disembarking from the state. Sorry if I bore you. I'm an economist. We speak figures. If you are bored by figures, there's a time we'll turn down. Maybe when my father, Professor Okpan Hoganegbo, comes, he will know how to turn down. He taught us how to play with figures. What's the impact on the state economy by tourism? First is increased level of employment, and tourism has united Akwa Ibom people through shared culture and encouraging coexistence and hospitality. There is elevation of state image globally and making Akwa Ibom a destination for culture, adventure, and business. And there is also the attraction of foreign direct investment. There is no way you go to in Nigeria or outside Nigeria that people won't ask you about Edikangikong, Ekbang Kukwo. Those girls that dance, they twist their body and shape their body. That's the kind of questions I ask. And we are proud to have this in Akwa Ibom. Let people speak good about us. We look at environmental management, what we've done in that area. The objective of the agenda is to ensure a sustainable environment, minimize human impact on the environment, and ensure a healthy planet for current and the future. And this is indicated in the SDG goals 1, 7, and 2, and 3. And the key activities undertaken, goals 3, 6, 7, and 8. The key activities undertaken in this sector include improved management of the Uyo mega dump site. That is what we have seen. The massive desilting of drains across the state, sweeping of roads across the state, public enlightenment programs to enlighten citizens on environmental management using media, schools, and even villages, because I've heard in my village where they do gong and tell people to go and sweep and keep the village tidy. So I think those are the key activities that have been undertaken in that area. So what are the outputs? The impact. We've seen a high up prevention of flood, even during extreme raining conditions. We've seen reduced pollution accumulation, and we've seen controlled outbreak of diseases due to routine environmental sanitation and waste evacuation. Then the second strand is rural development, women, and empowerment. The objective is clear: to sustain improvement of quality of life of the rural population by increasing their access to finance, capacity building, as well as provision of basic services like potable water, electricity, good rural roads, education, and healthcare, and to encourage and empower women by increasing their political and socio-economic participation in, and this supports the SDG goals 1, 2, and 10. It aligns with those goals. And those are the projects and programs that the government, through their rights agenda, had implemented in this area. And you can go through the tables. The construction of rights compassionate homes, which the Excellency had earlier mentioned, and we put it in real figures. 205, Grace Estate 236, basic services grant for 50 communities on, to execute micro projects, 4,050. AK Cares, construction of 76 feeder roads, at engaged 3,420 labor, and also the wet market in 30 local governments, which are employed about 720. Then 60 Livelihood Collective, that is cooperative for value chain productivity, formation made of 77,058 women across the state. Then we have the Rights Initiative for Elderly, which this government gives 50,000 naira to 7,200 elderly Akwa Ibom people, amounting to 360 million. Arise Youth Business Grant of 729 million, business grant for 14,580 youths, male. For female, it is 50,000 each for 40 of such youths. The 1.8 billion 6-month stipend for 30,000 youths at 10,000 naira each, and also 502.75 million one-off grant of 50,000 to 150 grant, or 150,000 to 10,055 youths, yet in Akwa Ibom. It continues, so you can read along the table. Please, let's go. Finally, we have 1,560 social workforce benefited from 7 months backlog of stipends, monthly allowances, and social workforce benefited from 7 months backlog of our stipends, monthly allowance. Sorry for the repetition there. So that's what has happened in that area. So what's the impact? We see this impact, that about 502 Akwa Ibom people from 50 communities now have access to ICT centers, health centers, motorized boreholes, through basic services grants, and the construction of 72 new federal rural roads and 30 wet markets across the state has enhanced easy transportation and distribution of agricultural products to final consumers. And also grants disbursed has stimulated economic activities across the state, increasing purchasing power and increasing the general well-being of the people in the states. Let's talk about infrastructure development. The objective of the agenda on infrastructure is to develop and critical infrastructure to improve the standard of living, especially in rural areas, and to provide adequate, sustainable, and affordable higher developed housing in secure and developed areas, to promote efficient and effective and sustainable transportation, road, sea, air, and rail infrastructures and services. That's what the agenda says. If you want to read with me, you'll see and wonder where the state government is taking the money to implement all these projects at the same time in just 2 years of this administration. See from number 1, road construction, bridges, drainage, erosion control facility. That is the direct labor and indirect labor it has generated in the state. Victor International Airport, development stroke expansion. has generated 722 employment. The Rice Resort has generated 1,794. Maritime and passenger jetty in Oron has generated 137. Amphitheater has generated 219. Perimeter fencing at the Unity Park has generated 89. Please, if you go on, you will believe the governor that we have to sit down with MBS to look again at the level of unemployment in Akwa Ibom State, because we must consider this as vast employment being open in Akwa Ibom State. And you look at all this space, from Ibom Model Farm, hotel in Lagos, Ibom Tower in Abuja, model primary schools, senior citizen center, all of these are capital projects that are being implemented by the government, which has generated so much employment. And with this employment, it makes people to have the capacity to spend and take care of themselves. Next slide. What's the impact of infrastructure development? The impact we've seen is a total of 105 road projects have been executed in the state. A total of 19,093 employment has been created. Construction of roads and bridges has reduced transport costs, enhanced free flow of movement across the state, access to market, increased food security, create both permanent and temporary jobs, promote intra and interstate commerce, and reduce road-related accidents. Because when you have good roads, you're not going to have accidents. Then let us zero down on ICT development, which is what is going to drive the smart economy that we are looking for. What have the state done in this area in the RISE agenda? The objective actually is to drive efficiency, transparency, and accountability across public service delivery. And it is aligned to the SDG goals of SDG goal 4, 5, 8, and 9. And activities undertaken include the Unified Akwa Ibom Public Servants Payroll Portal, which is very important. Shifting the payroll control and management from consultants to designated payroll officers. The creation of state pension portal to ensure automated transition of retirees while minimizing payment delays. Procurement portal as a gateway for vendors, contractors, and consultants. Digital food distribution portal, which enables food voucher distribution, which is what is actually what people were worried about when the governor initiated that program, that he wants to distribute food. How will he do it? But today, it's been done seamlessly. We have the Students' Bursary Portal that enables eligible students to apply for bursaries and grants. The RISE Medium and Small Scale Portal that supports micro and small scale businesses. And we have the RISE Youth Employment Portal, which creates a platform for employment, applications, and youth empowerment. You don't need to go to somebody's office to say, please take me because you're my brother or sister. You can be employed in Akwa Ibom from anywhere. Once you visit that portal, they will sort you out and they will give you employment. So you don't need a godfather to get employment in Akwa Ibom State. So those are the things. What they've undertaken, and the impact obviously is great, which is what is going to ensue the smart economy that we are looking for in Akwa Ibom State. Then on security management, sound education, educational and health sector management. We want the agenda wants to ensure the safety and security of lives and properties. And this is indicated in the Sustainable Development Goal 1, 3, 4, 5, and 10. And activities that we have seen in this area include the setting up of Ibom Community, Community Watch, with recruitment of 500 security officers, purchase of 14-number gunboats and 30-number operational vehicles to the Nigerian police, 50-number minibuses to security agencies in the state, donation of operational equipment to federal security agencies. For this issue of security, what impact has it made? There's relative peace and orderliness in our state. I won't want to say there's abounding peace, so people who are not from this state will not come and make us not stay in peace. There is peace. Governor has said so. Abounding peace in this state. The state security services are combat ready at all times with its operational effectiveness. The local security networks has helped a lot in curbing excessive crimes like armed robbery, child trafficking, and kidnapping. These were very excessive in the state for some time before now. For education, we need, the agenda wants to reduce illiteracy and promote high standard education system in the state. And this is indicated in the SDGs 1, 4, 5, and 10 once again. What activities has happened in this area? The construction of 24 model primary schools, provision of educational materials and items, exercise books, uniforms, socks, shoes for pupils, particularly 3,686 pupils. Payment of WAEC and National Business and Technical Education Board examination fees for 50,274 students in 2024 and 52,512 students in 2025. You see the increase in number because school is free in Akwa Ibom. So enrollment has increased. And now many people are taking examinations. And 243 students with disabilities benefited from scholarship programs. That is just a tip of the iceberg of what is happening in that sector. We really need to do this to shorten the time you will stay here to watch me speak figures. Because people don't clap for figures. They get worried when figures come. But when you see the publication we're going to make from what we are doing, you clap for Akwa Ibom even more in education sector. They've invested. This governor has invested in education robustly. I want to even report myself that he has invested even in my university, making us happy many times, giving us projects, giving my faculty a whole faculty building in the main campus. He has done so much for education. So the impact actually is the intentional effort of the state government in creating a comfortable learning environment encourages the students to participate in class, and it motivates them and enhances teachers' performance and service delivery with quality instructional materials and effective class management, thereby reducing social inequality. You'll be shocked if you go to some of our primary schools in deep rural areas, you see them playing with computer. It is not easy to see children playing with computer in those rural schools. They only see the first time they see computers is when they want to write JAM, and you see them competing with students who are computer literate and they don't know anything about computer. They just sit down there, watch the computer. At the end of the day, they have 50 over 400 in JAM, and people say they don't understand it, they don't know anything. They know. It's only that they don't understand computer. So that's what Governor Moino has done for Akwa Ibom State. On health, the objective actually is to deliver effective, efficient, and comprehensive healthcare services to the people of Akwa Ibom State. And it's indicated in the SDG, or 1, 3, and 5. And let's look at the activities. We've seen the building of model primary health centers. In fact, I have not seen any primary health center in anywhere I've been to. I have been variously in many states of Nigeria. I've not seen the kind of the model primary health center that I've seen. You see the picture. See those pictures there. Those pictures are not taken from the internet. Those are Akwa Ibom. Every picture here is a Akwa Ibom picture, and it indicates who we are. There's provision of free medical and health care services in this state to 2,185,640 persons. And there's registered, we speak now, Akwa Ibom Health Insurance Scheme has attracted a registration of 122,636 people, because people want to stay alive. Yeah. So what's the impact? There's huge reduction in mortality rate. And when it reduces, you know, what happens? People are not dying again at 50. Now people are competing to die at 90 because there's increase in, you'll tell me later. Then let's look at economic, industrial, and social advancement. The objective of this, the diversification of the economy to foster the creation of income and employment opportunities, thereby reducing poverty. And where this state are really focused is the area of its investment in Ibom Air. Ibom Air is tremendous in advertising the state, in bringing profit to the state. So let's look at the activities in this area, please. I gave only one activity, development of Ibom Air. And not just the development of the aircraft, but the facility that holds the aircraft. And we know that the government is working on the MRO facility, which is going to be, once it's completed, it will be the first in, I think, in West Africa, because I don't think we have a hub that do that in West Africa. So if it becomes a hub, then you see the traffic that will come to Akwa Ibom State and the revenue that the state will get. So the rest agenda has witnessed a tremendous level, in my conclusion, of the assessment. This is where I'm going to score the mark. I'm going to give the score. Many things are good, but I want to urge you to do, when I was in primary school, the first time, because we didn't understand, they say, good, gooder, goodest. So we had to do more good. So the arrest agenda has witnessed a tremendous level of accomplishment in the 2 years of its implementation, surpassing expectations as indicated in the MTEF document of the state. This has been made possible by a committed and resolute government that is open to fiscal responsibility. If the Akwa Ibom State sustains this abiding faith in fiscal responsibility and sagacity, Akwa Ibom State will soon emerge as the economic pride of the Nigerian Federation. I sign out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, the brass band. Thank you, the brass band. Please, can we one more time celebrate the very erudite Professor Christopher Ikong. Thank you so much for taking us through the journey on the socio-economic impact of the ARISE agenda. Your Excellency, when I invited him as the MC for today, I was scared, which is why I advised that this will not be press singing, but that it will be real. But at the end of his presentation, if you permit me to go a bit biblical, Scripture says that when a man's way pleases the Lord, makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. That is not to say that Professor Chris Sekong is an enemy of Pastor Moina, but he could be, being that he's an academic. But the truth in his presentation is to say that Pastor Moina has done well. Please, can we one more time put our hands together to celebrate His Excellency Pastor Moina. So much about the last 2 years. What is to come in the next 2 years and perhaps 6 years? We shall now be hearing from the Chief Delivery Advisor and Executive Assistant to the Governor, who would make a brief presentation on the next steps and new projects within the purview of the Arise agenda. Please, can we put our hands together as we celebrate Mr. Anefiok Johnson, Chief Delivery Advisor to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, my Lord, the Chief Judge, honorable ministers present here, permit me, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to rest on the already established protocol. We have heard this morning, and we have measured the progress so far achieved. We have also assessed the impacts of the projects in the last 2 years. And now is the time for us to see how we deepen the impact of these projects. So my task here is to look at the next steps, look at the ongoing projects, and then explain to you all how project monitoring and implementation is conducted under the leadership of His Excellency, Governor Umoino. Overview of the Arise agenda. Please, you will permit us to belabor this point, because sometimes, for us, it's always easier for us to explain what we mean by the acronym Arise. So I'll just take a few moments to go through them. The A stands for Agricultural Revolution, Tourism and Environmental Management, boosting food production, agribusiness, promoting tourism, protecting the environment. The R is for Rural Development, Women and Youth Empowerment, invested in rural infrastructure and services, while empowering women and young people with skills that they need, jobs that they need, and opportunities. The I stands for Infrastructure, Maintenance, and Advancement, expanding and upgrading physical infrastructure, roads, transport, power, urban facilities to drive development. The S is for Security Management, sound education and health sector management, ensuring public safety, strengthening social services like education and healthcare for a healthier, educated populace. And the E for the Arise is Economic, Industrial, and Social Advancement, diversifying the economy, which you have heard today a lot about, through industrial projects, creating jobs, which is essential for economic growth, advancing social welfare programs to improve the quality of life. So this is what we mean when we talk about the vision of His Excellency, Governor Umoino, and we say, Arise. Now, you've heard what we've done so far in the last 2 years, and talking more about the Arise agenda, you will see that it's the governor's roadmap to deliver the dividends of democracy across the state. In the first 2 years, we saw that this administration made significant progress on each of the pillars of the agenda. And it's also interesting to note that the Arise agenda aligns with the national development priorities of the federal government. And we will explain that as we go along. Now, why the priority projects? You may ask yourself, what informs the identification, the selection of these projects? As you can see, they are meant for long-term impact. Each project has been carefully selected, not just to achieve immediate benefits for those who benefit from them, but to achieve long-term impact for sustainable growth and development. Now, the projects will elevate living standards for Akwa Ibomites and will sustain economic growth. They will also bring about inclusive development. And if you all know His Excellency Pastor Umoino, he doesn't do things half-heartedly. He likes everyone to benefit. So the whole idea is that these projects align with the governor's vision to empower communities and foster inclusive prosperity. And then the last, which is very important, is that all of these projects serve as a fulcrum to position the state as an end destination for tourism, and ensuring that the state can thrive economically beyond the current value proposition presented by the oil and gas industry. Now, these are finite resources. They finish over time. And even when they don't finish, they go out of fashion. For example, it will be cheaper to leave crude oil in the ground in the next, maybe decades than to bring it out of the ground, because nobody will buy crude oil anymore, because we are doing energy transitioning at this point in time. So if you go and see how these projects cut across the entire ARISE agenda, and I'll explain as I go along. On agricultural revolution, tourism, and environmental management, currently, we have 9 projects. And we have heard of some of these ones from Professor Ekong. Now, if you go to rural development, youth empowerment, currently ongoing, in the next 2.5 years, we are going to be finishing and implementing 5 major projects. Now, you may also not get the full picture because we call them 5 broad projects. But if you go to 13, you will see that there is 1 project per local government. So, as a means to ensuring inclusive development across the states, the governor brought up this whole idea of 1 project per local government. So you will actually be looking at 35 projects under this sub-theme of the ARISE agenda. Because 1 project for each local government brings up them to 31 projects, plus the other projects. We're talking about 36 projects under rural development, women and youth empowerment. We have ongoing now infrastructure maintenance and advancement. You will see there 17 ongoing transformational projects scheduled for completion in the next 2.5 years. And if you talk about security management, you will see 13 ongoing transformational projects. And you go on to 15, you go on to economic, industrial, social advancement, you will see 15 transformational projects. Again, you may not get the full picture, because if you look at 50 there, in the airport projects alone, we have 10 distinct projects running at the moment at the airport. So we were talking about over 60. In fact, we have stopped counting our projects here in Akwa Ibom State. We just deliver. Now, we have just taken about 10 projects to give you an idea of where we are, where the next steps will lead us to. Now, if you look at the 5,000-seater Ibom International Convention Center and the adjoining 200-room hotel in Uyo, this project was long abandoned over 15 years, and now His Excellency the Governor has revived them because they play a crucial role for the advancement of tourism. The next steps here will be, following the launch in May, work has started, and the projects are scheduled for completion in 14 months. And this project aligns with the National Renewed Hope Agenda pillar of expanding Nigeria's non-oil sector. The ARISE Senior Citizen Center is a project that is ongoing and almost will be commissioned. Since laying the foundation in January 2025, construction has almost completed. The next steps will be to finalize the construction and the furnishing of this specialized geriatric care and recreation center for commissioning in September 2025. It's also in line with the Renewed Hope's human capital development priorities of improving health and social welfare for all citizens. Another project is this transformational project, the Intercity CNG-powered bus transport service. This is a twin-track development for the construction of a modern bus terminal with a maintenance yard, a training school, as well as a technical facility for conducting roadworthiness and testing of vehicles. It will also include the deployment of an initial 20 CNG-powered buses that will run along routes across the states. The next steps here is that groundbreaking has taken place and constructions have commenced, and we expect that they would expect to complete the design and the rollout of the bus routes, the bus stations, as well as the ticketing systems by the end of this year, 2025. Now, this project also addresses public transit and environmental goals by reducing commuter costs, carbon emissions, reflecting the national priorities of the federal government on enhancing transport infrastructure and adopting cleaner energy for economic growth. Now, this is another project that has been envisaged. It has started by His Excellency the Governor. It's a model secondary school project designed to improve quality of education and establish an ideal standard of learning across all secondary schools in the states. The next steps here will be to commence construction after the preliminary works, which are currently ongoing, and it is scheduled to be completed in 2026, next year. Now, this project advances education across education access and quality at the grassroots, which is in line with the governor's vision of ensuring that those at the rural areas can enjoy the same standard of living as those in the urban areas. Now, this is one of the major projects ongoing. The current state of this project is that the work is ongoing to transform a former gully erosion site into a scenic resort featuring a nine-hole golf course, among other world-class leisure amenities. The next steps on the Arise Resort is to finalize the construction to completion in 2025, and this will boost tourism inflows, create jobs in the hospitality industry. It also aligns with the national agenda for economic diversification, leveraging tourism to broaden Nigeria's economic base. This resort project taps into the creative economy as well and will attract visitors, contributing to national tourism development. Another transformational project is the Oron Maritime Project, currently ongoing and scheduled for completion within the course of the current administration. So the Oron Maritime Infrastructure Hub was flagged off in March 2025. It entails reconstruction of the old marine jetty to a modern marine terminal, including shore protection, new terminal building, warehouses with cold storage, dedicated jetties for cargo and passengers. Next steps is to finish and commission the projects to enable full operations of the hub, including the launch of modern, safe ferry services between Oron and Calabar, for example, and the projects are scheduled for completion by December this year. It also links to the national development priorities of enhancing maritime transport infrastructure, regional connectivity, in line with national development priorities. More importantly, it also contributes to Nigeria's blue economy ambitions by developing coastal transportation and trade. Now, this is what I call the mother of all projects, because it will transform not just the lives of people in Akwa Ibom State, but across the entire West Africa sub-region, as well as the Gulf of Guinea. Now, this is a 350-bed purpose-built tertiary and quaternary facility that will position Akwa Ibom State as a center for excellence for the provision of advanced medical care in Nigeria, West Africa, as I mentioned earlier, and the Gulf of Guinea sub-region. Contract has been finalized, construction set to begin in earnest. It is scheduled for completion in 2026. It's also linked to the national development priority, strengthens healthcare infrastructure and services, aligning with the renewed hope pillar of investing in health, improving the quality of medical care nationwide. The Aqua GIS project. The current state of this project, the Aqua Ibom Geographical Information System, we call it Aqua GIS, is designed to centralize land records, enhance transparency in land administration, eliminate land-related fraud, further streamlining the issuance of certificates of occupancy, and more importantly, making people have access to capital from their real estate inheritances. Next steps here will be to commence the construction of the building, finalize the system deployment, and launch. It aligns with the Renewed Hope agenda for digital governance, housing, and urban development. Now, how do we achieve all of this? What is the system put in place by His Excellency the Governor to make all of this happen? So we want to talk about the role of the delivery unit in project success. Now, His Excellency the Governor has adopted cutting-edge global best practice by establishing the delivery unit. To ensure that projects of the government are delivered on time and their desired impact achieved, His Excellency Governor Umoino established a delivery mechanism in October 2024, led by the Chief Delivery Advisor. But the governor chairs this and drives this. Make no mistakes about that. The delivery unit functions as a special monitoring and implementation task force, separate from the day-to-day bureaucracy of the civil service. And it brings together a team of delivery advisors attached to specific projects, as well as a project monitoring and implementation team within the governor's office, focusing entirely on the implementation of priority projects. Now, how do we work? It is important to note that there are certain key highlights that make the delivery unit stand out. And these are the highlights. First and foremost, there is what we call secured funding and in-house project team. Now, you've heard Professor Ekong say that this government has not borrowed a single naira in the last 2 years. Now, let me also say that this governor does not intend to borrow any single naira in the next 2.5 years. Every single project we have outlined here have funding secured. Isn't that beautiful? And how did this happen? Not by accident, by deliberate, intentional, financial probity, prudent management of resources, cutting down on wastages and leakages, and ensuring that we have a state-of-the-art contract management system that ensures that projects are funded, implementation cycles for projects are adhered to, wastages are eliminated, and leakages are avoided. So to ensure the viability of projects, cost-saving measures have been introduced through the establishment of an in-house project monitoring team. So you have a sort of a replica of the Ministry of Works in the governor's office. You know, the team is staffed with quantity surveyors, architects, and engineers. And the purpose of this is simply due diligence. When the governor receives contract documents from the MDAs, they are passed through a separate set of in-house team that looks at the bills of quantities, looks at the BMAs, and ensure that they are in line with best practice and that the costs are in line with industry standards. That's all. And when this is done, we have found out that there has been a great reduction in the contract sums because another pair of eyes have looked at the figures and have arrived at what is best practice and what is cost effective. So this has been extremely important because it has led to significant savings. And where you have more savings, you have more resources to fund more projects. So that's really the secret behind what the governor has been doing. Now, in addition to having the in-house estimate that ensures that contracts are not inflated and that contract management cycles can be finished on time, you have additional administrative guidelines which is Excellency rolled out, ratified by the State Executive Council. Now, to consolidate on the cost-saving measures and keep the cost of contracts under control, thereby eliminating incessant variations and delays to project delivery, the governor has gone further to institute additional guidelines to strengthen the state procurement laws. So this is not a new law, but these are administrative guidelines that make sure that the state procurement law can actually work, not just in letter, but in actual spirit in the contract management cycle. So for example, the guideline says that you can't bring up a project without a design, because we've seen cases where projects are submitted, approvals are given without designs being supplied. So the contractor works with his own designs and determines exactly what he wants to do and determines exactly what he gets paid for. So that has stopped because since this additional guidance came out, all projects submitted for governor's approval have been accompanied by designs, and the designs are accompanied by designs and bill of quantities, and these are subjected to in-house assessment in the governor's office to arrive at what is the actual design and what should be the actual cost for these projects. This has also led to a lot of cost savings. And then thirdly, the governor has established institutionalized delivery routines. Now, one of the reasons why government projects fail is the absence of the implementation culture. And governor has tackled this by establishing institutionalized delivery routines. So he has established a project, His Excellency has established a project advisory committee, which he chairs directly. This is what I call leadership by example and exemplary leadership. He chairs the meetings of the project advisory committee for 2 days every month. 2 days every month, a meeting of the project delivery advisory committee is held where all the delivery advisors attached to specific projects come together with the State Executive Council members to look at all of these projects. Stakeholders from the communities are also invited so that they are aware of what is going on and can also have input into how the project management cycle works in governance. And I said earlier, the governor also appointed project delivery advisors assigned to specific projects. So it takes away the drudgery where commissioners are often, looking at other matters and may not have the attention to focus on specific key projects. And so delivery advisors are appointed to specifically, and most of them are subject matter experts, and also those who have institutional memories, have been in government before, they understand these projects, they have relationships with the ministries, and they can engage them. So the project advisory meetings resolve problems in project management, provide solutions, and help us to make progress. So these structured routines promote transparency, accountability, timeliness, ensuring that all projects are delivered efficiently and effectively. Now, His Excellency has not worked alone on this. He has also invited partners from the international communities who are experienced in the delivery mechanism, and we have been working closely with the Tony Blair Institute, as well as now we are now working with the UNDP to strengthen these delivery mechanisms. Conclusion. So I will say that the delivery unit in the governor's office is the engine room established by His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Umaino, to bring his vision of the Arise agenda to fruition. The vigilant tracking, coordination, and problem solving embarked upon by this unit will be crucial in the next 2 years to deliver and sustain the dividends of these projects. By keeping all stakeholders focused on the results, the delivery unit in the governor's office would help guarantee that each project, whether a farm, a road, a school, or a seaport, is delivered as promised and yields tangible improvement in the lives of the people. This proactive approach to governance gives confidence that what next, outlined in this presentation, will indeed be achieved, ensuring that the Arise agenda leaves a legacy aligned with both state and national development aspirations. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, the Chief Delivery Advisor and Executive Assistant to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Nefiok Johnson, for leading us through the next steps and the procedures for delivery in Akwa Ibom State. Let me announce that I have a mandate to ensure that this event is brought to a very logical and successful end within the next 40 minutes. That is, if you check your time at 2 p.m., we should be done with interactions here. But at this moment, we are supposed to have the Managing Director of the Akwa Ibom Investment Corporation, who would come to lead our guests, especially those who have come from outside the state, to see and appreciate the investment opportunities in Akwa Ibom State, especially those that have been brought up by the actual implementation of the Arise agenda. So it takes the next 5 to 10 minutes to show us the investment opportunities in Akwa Ibom State through the Arise agenda. Please, can we put our hands together as we bring up Pastor Imoabasi Jacob, the MD of Akikop. Can we make the applause louder for a very noble gentleman? Please make it louder.
Thank you. Your Excellency, our Governor, all the distinguished stakeholders that are here, permit me to stand on an abbreviated protocol. I have been asked to unveil the investment outlook of our state. As was already introduced, my name is Imoabasi Jacob. I serve as the Managing Director of the Akwa Ibom Investment Corporation. I need to take a minute or two to tell us why and what we do. Akwa Ibom Investment Corporation, AKICOP, is the investment arm of the government established by the law of the state, and is charged with the enormous responsibility of managing all of these investments of the government and serving as an investment trust and holding company. We sit on all boards of our companies and as represented by the section of the law that established the corporation. What do? We undertake investment promotion and custodial activities. We facilitate the development of entrepreneurship in the state and promote corporate governance amongst all of our entities. I want to thank His Excellency for restoring the lost glory of AKICOP. Today, by the proclamation of the ESCO, all investment have been returned to AKICOP, and AKICOP sits on all boards. Indeed, the MD sits at ESCO, because this is how much investment is important to the state and to His Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, let me unveil our state as a destination for investment, a destination where investment opportunities, a powerful vision, as we have seen and heard about the Arise agenda, and preparedness have all converged to give maximum advantage to discerning investors. And I know some of you are in this hall. We ask you to take advantage of some of the things you will hear that is happening in the state. Now, our goal is simple. We want to become one of the leading industrial hubs in Nigeria that plays home to global world-class companies and promote entrepreneurial culture by the rise of a large presence of entrepreneurs in the state. All of this has been made possible by the Arise agenda. What I'm going to present is a trickle-down effect of the impact of the Arise agenda on the whole economy, and indeed presenting an investment destination in our state. Thank you, Your Excellency, for giving us the Arise agenda. The outlook of our investment has been made possible by this agenda, and I'd like to approach it like this. First and foremost, in our state, we are fortunate to have created economic gateways. So what you heard as projects are actually intentionally being programmed to open access to the economy. Because in economic planning, access is very important. An economy is about the freedom of movement of goods, services, capital, and all that. So over the years, we have intentionally created 3 economic gateways to convey an advantage to the state in terms of access. We are accessed by air, by roads, and by sea. So what you heard about as projects are actually economic triggers that present the environment as the environment of choice for discerning investors. I'll take you through some of them. You've heard the story. But by air, we access by Boom Airlines. You don't know what that airline has done to us. It has brought people, conferences are being held here. This was a landlocked area where no major events take place. But because of access from Ibom Air, people are coming here to do conferences. We're establishing the Victor Otta International Airport as a hub. We're building a smart terminal, MRO, and then the aviation village. As businessmen and women, this means a lot to you because it will reduce your cost of doing business. It will give you access to markets, and we're bringing the rest of the world to us. We are connected also by roads. Our inner city, intercity roads are one of the best. In Akwa Ibom State, roads are not projects. They connect us to market. They bring the rural economy to the urban economy. They reduce the cost of transportation and cost of doing business. And His Excellency has, apart from the CNG bus, the mystery is the 7th mystery, 7 wonders of the world, because we're going to link people that are coming to the state through the airport to the inner city and distribute them to the various arteries within the state, up or to where you have the Polytechnic, Ikorosura, up to Ekit. Thank you, Your Excellency, for increasing the number of the fleet. As we speak, our team are en route to Turkey to discuss with the manufacturers of the bus. This project will be launched this year. His Excellency has also directed that we should explore the opportunity of having light rail network in the state. And that in itself will position us as a destination that must be destination. Then, of course, by sea. These are the 3 major gateways for an economy to be opened up to the rest of the world. We're taking Ibom Deep Seaport to the next level. And this is not just a seaport development. We are capping it with an industrial city that supports the activities at the port. And then, of course, the location advantage of the seaport. We are open to the Gulf of Guinea, which means that we are connected to the world. We don't have to go through the route of Atlantic Ocean or this other route that is. And, of course, it will serve the economic needs of the region and beyond. This, for any discerning investor, is a major opening for your business. It supports your business. Your Excellency, permit me to also look at the economic zones that operate in our state. These are very important because you use economic zones, like it's happening in the Asian tiger countries. They develop industrial parks to be able to bring a large presence of companies together with shared facilities, reduce the cost of doing business, and promote economies of scale. In our state, we are fortunate through the dint of hard work by our leaders, past and present, and most importantly by His Excellency, to have the following economic zone: the Liberty Oil and Gas Free Trade Zone, is home to many companies, global companies, that would enjoy the advantage of tax-free incentives and holidays and all that. This is a major boost to industrialization. I've already talked about the industrial city, which is an industrial hub in itself. I just go ahead to mention them because of time. We're constructing an industrial park called Itam Industrial Park. His Excellency has recovered this park. It was an abandoned park. And what is the advantage of doing this? It will provide a hub for our businesses to move into that park, enjoy access to power. We're connecting it with the gas corridor and making sure that they have utilities and facilities that will reduce the cost of doing business. And in addition to this, His Excellency has directed that we have an incubation hub. What does this mean to us? Our young people who are trying to access market but don't have any platform to trade from can start from this hub until they are mature to be sent to the market. Thank you, Your Excellency, for giving us this concept. Next, I can mention other economic international market. You know what this will do. It will promote trade along the region. We will compete with others in the region. This is a PPP arrangement supported by global partners. Ibom Solution Hub is an industrial park. We have another one, Kwaibo Export Hub. This project is supported by IFC. These are major arteries for development. So when you talk about projects, interpret it in the light of the economy. What does it do? What has it done to the economy? How can it help you and I to have an environment where you can thrive and do business and make maximum return? Your Excellency, I would like to also signpost to us that apart from the economic zone, you have also delved into the real estate sector, because you've reasoned that as more people are coming into the state, they need to have the houses, the office space from which they can operate. And you are doing this as a pilot. Your Excellency, today we're seeing development in real estate. People are coming to us in the investment house to ask for partnership in developing their own properties. If you walk through the Udom Emmanuel Boulevard from the Mbiabong roundabout, you can see high rises coming up. Your Excellency, this is a major signpost that you have put. Of course, our signature projects in this area are as follows. The Wet Luxury Gardens, a gated city estate that hosts about 35 units. And this is for premium customers who are coming into the state to do business. They must have a decent place to stay. We also have done an office space, through the Udom Emmanuel Towers. Today, IOCs and multilateral companies are coming in to find space here. These are signpost projects. We're just pointing the way. We're doing a project in faraway Lagos, the Ibom Towers, because this is a premium market for real estate. We are maximizing our returns by going to that mature market. We make money and come and do other things in the state. In the area of real estate, thank you, Your Excellency, for giving us this direction. And then tourism, as you've heard in all the other presentations, the pointer to the future of our economy is tourism. What is tourism? People coming in with their money to do business in your state, coming in as visitors with their bags full of money, but they don't live with their bags full of money. And the trickle-down effect is that the guy selling guguru on the road, the transport person at the airport, everybody will benefit from all of this. The state is going tourism, and we have created tourism assets. Time will fail me to mention all of them, but I would like to point to the following. We've already talked about the International Convention Center that will host up to 5,000 people at a time. You can imagine what this will do. This is a destination. I want you to see everything I'm saying here as the RISE agenda through His Excellency, putting Akwa Ibom as a destination of choice that is open to the rest of the world. This is a major a project. Of course, it's capped by the international hotel that will provide. And what is more, around this place, the His Excellency has developed the Arise Shopping City. Kigali doesn't have this. Kigali gives you a convention center and a hotel. But we have learned from their model, we have topped it up. The Arise Shopping Center will give you will give the state a leading edge. Because people coming to do business, coming for conferences, don't need to go too far. to meet all of their shopping needs. And of course, in this tourism sector, you have heard of other things. Ibom Hotel and Golf Resort is being refurbished as we speak. The golf area is a tourist attraction in itself. It's still in this area. Of course, our hotel in Ikarekwene, currently trading as 4 Point. What we're doing with our hotels is that we will converge all of them into a single brand called Ibom Hotel Brands and managed by our own management system, own personnel, so that we can position the brand. That's why we're also doing a hotel in Buja, okay? So all of them will be managed from the hotel group that we're creating. His Excellency has directed that we start recruiting and putting in place a management system that can run this as a business. Every project that you've heard about in the previous presentations ends up as a business because the governor is a business governor. This is the only governor that asks you for cash flow before a decision is taken on a project, or asks you for a business case before a decision is taken. And so a job is cut for us at Akikop to be able to manage this and convert these projects into wealth and create a commonwealth for our state. Of course, the CNG bus, I will not belabor that. It promotes tourism. It would help us as a tourism. Of course, the Ibom International Hospital, behind the medical care, is a tourism trust. It will drive in people to come into the state. And the way it is conceived, you get everything, even those coming to attend, coming with you for the hospital admission. We'll have hotels around about to stay. And it's part of a medical corridor where you have all the medical businesses, related businesses set up. We're planning for pharmaceutical companies to be sited in this corridor. We're planning for bonded warehouses to store drugs so there will be no shortage of drugs. Your Excellency, I wonder where you get this inspiration from. Because it is real. It is the real thing. It's the real deal. And I will not labor more on this because it speaks to itself. The Arise Resort has been spoken about, the sport tourism. So from sport tourism to medical tourism to leisure, we have it all because the future of our economy is tourism driven. We need the money, and the money is coming from out of town. Of course, in that Greek area, the model farm is more than a farm. We're going to put non-farm assets, hotels, resorts, swimming pool, place for wellness, recovery, people wanting to recover in a natural habitat. This is a place. We cook our own food. The hotels will thrive, as a medical, a tourism asset. The farm, rather. Now, I need to talk about the energy asset because all of these things will need significant amount of energy to power the new economy, the new Akwa Ibom economy. And we are spot on because we, as Akwa Ibom State, are fortunate to be the energy hub of Nigeria because we have the large presence of facilities along the energy value chain to be able to leapfrog today, to kick off today. From gas to generation, transmission to distribution, we have enough assets to start. So we're taking advantage of the reform in the energy sector, and we're launching out an energy reform program. We've signed into law the energy bill. We've put policies in place. As we speak, there's a committee that is working on how to roll down the state as a mega energy hub to power our industries. Let me also freely speak that we are talk and do. We also have our own portfolio. At Akikop, not only are we driving traffic into the state, we're managing the companies. We have invested in major sectors of the economy because our idea is to be able to have the IGR coming from this investment to form a significant part of our earnings as a state over the years. So we have footprint in the following areas. I have been told to shut down because of time, but give me 2 minutes to talk about, to just go through the opportunities and the incentive. I will invite all of us to invest in Akwa Ibom State. I will not have the time to go through the details, but I just want to show you as I flip through. If you connect the dots, definitely this is a destination that has all of the footprints and advantages to be a destination of choice. We have a lot of opportunities, starting from tourism to real estate infrastructure, marine, business, agriculture. Let me freely talk about agriculture. Recently, His Excellency has signed off a palm tree crop development plan. That means that we're going to cultivate 100,000 hectares of land. And we need partners to be able to fill the gap. We have a demonstration and pilot scheme coming out of this, but we need partners because we want to return to the heydays when we were #1 in palm production, palm tree production, oil palm production rather. We're now #3, but the His Excellency has given us a charge within the next 3 to 5 years to restore our position as #1. Oil and gas, the opportunities abound, power sector, aviation sector. I will not have time to tell you everything. The blue economy is there. I will not have all the time, but just see the enormity of opportunities that exist. Now, we have also done something. We have identified the raw materials and associated companies and products that can be produced in Akwa Ibom State. So when investors come to us, they already have somewhere to start from. And we've also profiled every local government and given them priority projects and that confer comparative advantages on them. So everywhere you go in Akwa Ibom State, opportunities abound. Let me begin to wind up. We have incentives. The Akwa GIS is a major boost to investors because of an efficient land management system that is coming up through that. Then all the free trade zones convert investors with tax incentives. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot finish this presentation without issuing this invitation to you and I. Whatever you have heard, it's because we are unveiling the state as a destination for investment by deliberately creating the enabling environment that leads us to make the conclusion that Akwa Ibom is open for your investment. And we join His Excellency to invite you by saying, come, live, and invest in Akwa Ibom State. This is the true meaning of the golden era. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, the MD of Archicop. Pastor Imo Abasi Jacob. Your Excellency, we're going to be having a brief session of interactions, which will lead us to the comments and remarks by our principal guests, and then we would end the event. The interaction or panel session will signpost an attempt to interrogate the various presentations that we have had in the course of the event of today. Let me invite, therefore, first the moderator of the panel, the Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Information, Akwa Ibom State. Please can we welcome the moderator, Honorable Elder Aniekan Numana, Commissioner for Information. Please can we applaud him some more, applaud him as he takes his seat. Thank you, the brass band. The chair of the panel, our leader, Akwa Ibom's gifts to the world, Professor Akpan Hogan Ekpo. Please can we celebrate him as he also comes. And then, of course, the brass band. We can come back at the end to save time. We'll also have another member of the panel, the foremost anchor of Moneyline on AIT. Please can we welcome Mrs. Nancy Lo Naji. Sometimes she is a chief, but today we go with Mrs. Please, can we put our hands together to celebrate and welcome her? And then, of course, the last member of this very strong panel, the one who doesn't love anything in soft copy, prefers hard copies. Please, can we welcome Mr. Terry Ekumi? Please, can we put our hands together, celebrate and welcome him from Channels TV, as he also takes his seat on the panel to be anchored by the Commissioner for Information, Akwa Ibom State, a gentleman who is very familiar with the terrain. As I had mentioned, they will attempt to interrogate, accept, and also make us have some further understanding on the subject of the various presentations that we've had here today. Please, I'll hand over to the Honorable Commissioner for Information. Really hard to say, but please don't exceed 16 minutes. 15 minutes, rather. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your Excellency, the performing Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister for Budget and National Planning, Honorable Minister for Petroleum and Gas, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear panelists, you're welcome to this session. Your Excellency, this afternoon, it is my pleasure to welcome everyone to this very brief part of this very insightful and important engagement, which is the public presentation of the socio-economic impact of the Arise Agenda in 2 years under the theme Measuring Progress and Deepening Impact. Today is not just ceremonial, it's about evaluating milestones and assessing performance and providing numbers and data that will help in planning and help in putting forward what is going on in Akwa Ibom State in the perspective that should be understood. Your Excellency, you started by giving a very detailed keynote address that unbundled what is going on here, and you set the milestones to what we are seeing here this afternoon. That was followed by a very robust presentation by the lead presenter, an erudite professor of economics, Professor Chris Ekong, who took a look at all of the data that's available, assessing the Arise Agenda in the different pillars and the 17 focal areas. He also showed the numbers and the impact of what has happened in Akwa Ibom State in the last 2 years. We also had a presentation of the next steps processes by the executive assistant, who looked at the delivery mechanism in the state and unveiled the 60 projects that's going on, and thereafter the investment portfolio of the state was unbundled by the managing director of Archicov. So, Your Excellency, this afternoon we have here erudite economist and very senior citizen in Akwa Ibom State, Professor Okwan Hogan Eko. So you're welcome. Yeah, Nancy Moneyline, you're welcome. Terry, you're welcome. So I'll yield the floor first to Professor, who is the lead discussant here, to shed light and thoughts on what he has heard this afternoon. Thank you.
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you very much. Our governor, our deputy governor, distinguished honorary minister, sorry, I'm not used to protocol, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to be invited to be a panelist in this very important occasion. Actually, I shouldn't be a panelist because it is my state. And I must say I took part somehow in the Arise agenda. And so I won't say much except to offer some. I think the early speaker said we should not criticize for the sake of criticizing. But we just want to offer some analysis what has happened so far. Also, to put me with this erudite journalist who discuss economic affairs all the time is also very frightening. But let me say that the lead presenter did a very good job, excellent presentation, what has happened in the last 2 years under the Arise agenda. You know, Chris Ekong was my student, I supervised his PhD, if he doesn't mind, except so he's technically competent, except on a lighter mood, he went into mainstream politics while while I did protest politics, the lighter mood. So he did a very good job. Let me say, Excellency, you are very bold. That just 2 years, you open up for us to see how far you've gone with your program. And it's a step in the right direction. I'm not used to praising government. Okay? I'm known to be an unrepentant critic of government throughout my life. But you are very bold, and I salute you for that. The Minister of National Planning is here. He knows the ministry used me a lot, so he knows what I'm saying. We have had a lot of things that you've done, and they're in the right direction. The sectorial performances quite in order. Chris Ekong has started to trace some of the impact with some data. If you can recollect, during the Akwa Ibom dialogue, I did suggest that you need a robust Bureau of Statistics, which you've established, and it's very good. And I hope that it is staffed with competent technocrats, because now we need evidence-based governance. The politics could go on, but we need data to assess government, any government. So we've had the sectorial achievements to that extent under the RISE agenda. My worry is that if you put these sectors together, we should have a kind of a macro view of what is happening in the state. Okay? For example, to assess a state's performance, even partially, you need to have a state GDP, a state gross development product. I could say with all boldness that 2004 in this country, I wrote the first proposal for a state GDP, and that was done. And I had to smuggle in Akwa Ibom State at that time to be part of the state GDP. We need one. Data gathering is very expensive, but it is needed. So I think going forward, we will need data. All what you've done, you have to sum up. You need a household survey, the Secretary General is here, to know, to be to assess the impact better. For example, years ago in this state, we used to have our state inflation rate, even though the federal government has its own. At the federal government level, every state is a data point. Okay? If we have our state GDP and we have, for example, inflation rate, we will know, if we calculate it over the years, we will know the impact on the state citizens. Okay? And that is how we can confront federal government figures that we don't like. Each time they ask me, is the federal government data, does it make sense? I say, it makes sense, except you have your own. Okay? Also, from that experience, because when we say GDP, there are several sectors. At national level, we have 46 sectors. Okay? At the state level, we may have the same, because I've been involved in this in Bayelsa, in Lagos State, and Kaduna. So you have other information. For example, we know the state unemployment rate. We can now confront the federal government. Even the agri that was presented, we will know the output for each. Because in Nigeria today, generally, agri output is driven by nature, rainfall, and increased acreage. The scientific method is very marginal. So you need data for that. You need data for the state poverty profile. When the MBS says our poverty incidence is very high, you oppose it. You can't oppose it if you don't have your own data. So I'm hoping that going forward, all the achievements in the sectorial area, for example, will be put together for us to have a macro data that will have impact on all citizens of the state. Okay? Now we know, okay, you've given youths 50,000 naira to do some business. Fine. But those youths are just a group of youths, maybe 10,000. Okay? What has been the impact, the multiplier effect on the others? It's data that will do that. You know. So I think that's the next step. Then you have another 2 years, and by God's grace, another 4 years. That's 6 years. Now let me say with boldness that No economy has leapfrogged to growth without planning. None. None. The China we admire, the Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and the rest, they plan. In this state, I have constantly recommended planning. And planning is a very simple thing in a sense. The Arise Agenda is a very robust document. With all we've seen that Chris Ekong has presented, and the next step, you put all together in a codified form with some competent technocrats, you have, if nothing else, at least a 5-year development plan. So that every village, every state, every settlement district will know what is coming to them with projects, costing, timelines, and so on and so forth. Then you take it to the State House Assembly for discussion and approval. Kids in Akwa Ibom, very sharp, out of the street into that. Kids in Akwa Ibom, very sharp, out of the street into that park. So you put all together, you now have a plan. And that plan will now cement your argument for another 6 years. Okay? And for what we have seen, that could be done. At the national level, it's been done several years. Okay? The National Planning Minister is here, and I've been involved in the planning from 1940 today, even the one that we did. So the problem has been that it is never passed into law. So a new government comes, jettison that, takes some abstract from it. It doesn't work. China was able to move 800 million out of poverty because they implemented their plan systematically. They didn't fail. Same thing with India, Indonesia. Even America, they say we shouldn't plan. America plans. That's what they call indicative planning. So for this state, that's the next steps are. All what you've done, put together into a plan so that we now know where we are going. And that's what you will do for the next generation. Because even Lagos State is doing well. They have a 30-year plan. Lagos State. We did not use 5-year plan to do it. So that's what I think at this initial stage that we should pursue. Okay?
Thank you so much,
Prof.
Prof.
I'll come back again.
Thank you so much, Prof. and lead discussant. We appreciate your points. If you advocated for a macroeconomic approach geared towards developing state GDP and data profiling for poverty index, and emphasize the need for development plan, long-term development plan. We've taken note of that, and I hope our rapporteurs are taking note of all of this. So Nancy will come to you to share your thoughts on all of the presentations and what you've heard here today. Over to you, Moneyline.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, the Governor, Deputy Governor, ministers here present. It's good that the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning is here. And also just emphasize a few things. The Governor said earlier on that even if we want to criticize, we have to criticize objectively. And I don't think that my job will be well done if I have succinctly said it. Since yesterday I came in, I've made it a point of duty, even around my hotel, to ask questions. Yesterday, immediately I came in, before I entered as I dropped my bag in the room, the protocol guy or the hotel guy can attest to it. I went to the spa. In fact, I asked the protocol guy, is there a spa here? And he said, okay, fine, the hotel has a spa. What time does your economy close? I hope Nsikak is here and he can bear me witness. I asked, what time does your economy close in Akwa Ibom? All those things matter. And when I went to the spa, I had discussions even with those coming out of the gym. And I was told, I asked questions, how is the governor doing? In fact, one young lady came to meet me yesterday and said, she was a bit fuzzy. Now, why am I asking these questions? So where am I going to, in essence? I've jotted a few things down. And I see the data every day. And I like the fact that the governor also mentioned that your data should be able to juxtapose with the NBS data. Looking at your data, even talking about inflation, your inflation rate, I think, is about 22.18%, close to the national average. Your food inflation rate is also close to that. During the presentation here, there was a disconnect between what you're doing in agriculture and how it's impacting food prices. So your state is still down there in terms of food inflation and the national average of headline inflation. So I think we really need to put all of that into perspective. And that comes to the fact of what Prof said. Your macroeconomy, inflation, your unemployment, all those things you're doing around entrepreneurship, how does it really reflect on the people? It's fantastic to give people 50,000 or whatever money. I see that as short-term relief. But how much businesses, how much entrepreneurship? We shouldn't just move. I think we should move from empowerment to entrepreneurship. I was listening to the CEO. I was listening to the CEO of Akikop. I live in Abuja, so I pass your property all the time. And I'm seeing a disconnect because most of the things that I've heard here is mostly government-driven. And Your Excellency, the Governor, you're doing well now, or you've done well in the last 2 years because fuel subsidy has been removed and you're getting more money from FAC. I tried to look at your IGR. It's been steadily growing, but can you also do more with that? Because if oil price falls to $20 tomorrow, Akwa Ibom State, with the beautiful plans you just rolled out here, you'll be a bit challenged. So I hope that you tell yourself that truth in your Federal Executive Council meeting when you're meeting and say, if President Trump does something very drastic, for example, and oil price falls to $10 or even zero like we saw in 2020, what would happen? So these are some of the things that I want you also to begin to think about and look at innovative ways to look at that. But I must also give it to you that your state of states, in the state of states report that I've also read, Akwa Ibom State comes #1 in terms of fiscal transparency. So I think you need to give yourselves a pat on the back for that. Your debt sustainability is still manageable. I heard, I think a speaker here say earlier that our governor would not borrow. I also want to tell you, if you want to borrow, there is laxity to do that because your debt to revenue ratio, at least there's still room to borrow. But it's good that you are not borrowing now, but also think of what happens if rain falls. Would your roof be large enough to take that rain? Now, let me just quickly say this, Honorable Commissioner, just before I close. Your RISE agenda is very ambitious, very good. I think when I was counting, what are close to 17 broad areas or more than that. But I must say that we should look at deepening youth economic participation. How do you link those systems in agriculture along the value chains, your creative industries, and also what Prof said earlier, the digital economy, which is very key. Institutionalizing data and monitoring, you've just got to do that. Can we begin to see that citizen-friendly M&E dashboard, that even when I'm in Abuja, I can actually see what you're doing and be able to benchmark you on that. I think Cross River State has something like that because I anchored the investment summit. I've done it 2 times now in terms of trying to do all of that. How do you also accelerate rural inclusion? You've really got to do that. Then investing in sustainability and make your system resilient. What we are talking about today should transcend beyond Governor Eno and the Deputy Governor. I've been in Akwa Ibom State. I think this is my 3rd time, different administrations. So I want to see what you're doing here be sustainable and resilience. I think I just need to leave it at that now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nancy, for that very brilliant intervention. We appreciate you. Thank you. From what we could see, you talked about the economic time space, entrepreneurship, food inflation, tie-up, and deepening of the youth economy and the M&E dashboard. So those are the rapporteurs have taken note of those. Thank you so much. So we'll go over to Terry Ikumi to hear his interventions. Terry, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to say what Nancy said. It's really difficult to go after both of them. I'm sure you agree with me. Nancy is an economist. She is very technical with these things. But I just want to say that as a journalist, over the years, I have become so used to asking questions. And in speaking with politicians and public officials, I've developed a great interest in governance. So it's difficult for me to come here and speak on something like this without asking questions to the governor. But I thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I just want to say as well that this state is a lovely state. And you have a lot. I say to everyone who cares to listen that Akwa Ibom is neat. The hospitality here is amazing. And I think that this is a culture that has been embedded in the people. But Your Excellency, you have a lot of work to do. I say that because every time I have a conversation around Akwa Ibom, I say that Akwa Ibom has been privileged to have successive governments try to outdo themselves. Not many states can say that. And I don't want to dwell so much because I have a private conversation with you later. But I want to say this, that I'm very particular about governance beyond the state capital. I'm very particular because I've followed certain conversations about governance in the state. And I think to a great extent that there are people within your state who would want to see more development beyond the state capital. And yes, it's just 2 years. You've only been here 2 years. And you seem to be doing a whole lot at the same time, which I believe is commendable as well. I say that because I've seen some of your projects. I've been privileged in the last 2 days that I've been here to go and see some of your projects. And I've asked the same questions. How was he able to do so much at the same time? And because I get the opportunity to speak with the contractors, I always ask, what is the delivery date? And interestingly, they do have delivery dates, some of them really close by. And I wonder, okay, so this is doable. You're not taking loans, but you're executing projects. And I'm very particular about how you generate revenue. So I thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I'm like that you're willing to challenge national statistics with verifiable data. It's very important. Because as journalists, we really rely on this data to follow up on governance. If we don't have data from the subnationals, because a lot of governors will tell you it's not true, and they kick it out. But if you have verifiable data, you can challenge the statistics of the NBS, and that will help us as journalists. And just as I wrap up, My Excellency, as commendably as you have done, I've heard people here say in the next 6 years you have a lot to do. You have less than 2 years left, Your Excellency. And then after that, whatever evidence you have, you use to solicit for the support of your people to re-elect you for another 4 years. So thank you once again for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Terry. Thank you, Terry. Your mic down. Thank you for your submission, and we thank you for the commendations. Yes, we've taken note of your points. Rural inclusion, yes, at the heart of the Arise agenda is rural development. And if you followed, you will see that every intervention here is driven from the rural area back in. And we also noted your suggestion on the data management and cross-marking. So we've taken note of that. Thank you so much, my colleagues on this side. I will hand over to Morgan to allow us to take 1 or 2 comments from the audience, and thereafter we'll return to the lead discussants to give a wrap-up, and then we close this session and present to us once again the Arise footprints. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the panel moderator. Before we proceed, please, can we put our hands together for the panelists? Very, very amazing insight and intervention. We appreciate you. To our stakeholders, we appreciate you for coming. We trust that you've heard a lot. You have plenty of things to say, but we have to work with the time that is available. So we'll just take 2 questions, 2 comments, 2 interventions. It could come in any form, but just 2. So please, as we recognize you, we want you to stand, say your name, say your organization, if you are from one of these organizations, and please go very direct on the point you want to make. So please, 2 interventions. Okay, would end with you. Would end with you, sir. If I can take 1 from here, so we would end with you. 1 other. Please, can you go to the back? Let's ensure that this is properly integrated. I think the gentleman in suit there, correct. And then we'll come back to Dr. Abati and we'll end. Go ahead, please. Your name, your organization, your intervention.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, and all protocols observed. My name is Tija Bolton Akpan. I work for Policy Alert, a civil society organization. First, would like to commend the governor for throwing the Arise agenda open for public evaluation. I think this is something we've expected for a very long time, and it's better late than never. However, I would like to say that we came here today expecting to contribute empirically to the conversations holding here. Unfortunately, we did not have the benefit of seeing the evaluation metrics, the methodology for the evaluation, and also the documents that we are going to come to have a conversation on. So while the government is to be commended for opening up the frontiers of citizens' participation, we also have to close the gap of ensuring that that participation is of a very solid quality by ensuring that people have access to data. The other point I would like to make is that Akwa Ibom State over the past few years has been making a lot of progress on fiscal transparency. I heard Nancy mention some data from the State of States report. However, in the last 2 years, there has been a significant decline on these indices. Recently, we had the Q2 and Q1 budget implementation reports, and these reports were reduced to a scanty 3 pages from the 60-something pages they used to be before. There is no way we can evaluate the Arise agenda without tying it to the performance of the budget. And that is why the state needs to get back to where it used to be in terms of public finance management performance. The third point I would like to make has to do with the long-term development plan, which has been copiously elaborated on by the professor. I would say that without a perspective plan, there is no way civil society organizations and professional groups, even community people, can actually key in to the development agenda of the state. Development partners, the international investors that we are courting, need to see where the state is heading to so that they can know what part of the state's economy to plug into. So without seeing the long-term development plan, without seeing the budget indices on a quarterly and annual basis, this is actually going to be very frustrating for development partners and prospective investors. So what's my point? The point here is that civil society is very willing and ready to partner with the state government to ensure that the Arise agenda is implemented on an empirical basis in a manner that can be, properly benchmarked by citizens generally. However, that cannot be done if we do not have access, if we do not have data, if we do not have a seat at the table.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you very much for giving us this access today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, Teacher Bolton. Your Excellency, thankfully today you don't have a table before you. Teacher Bolton now has a seat in the hall. More to come in the future. I'm sure that we'll have a good response to that from the panel. But let's take from Dr. Ruben Abati, which is where we'll end on the interventions. There'll be a lot more of this kind of event. We're just starting.
Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me. I thought today would be Friday, so that we will have a happy hour. But you all agree with me that we've had a very happy session. Now, let me make a confession. Well, I know this area very well. I went to University of Calabar. So since 1981 up to now, I've been following developments. I've been following developments in this part of the country. But even more importantly, this Arise agenda, there is a WhatsApp group which the Commissioner for Information created, of which I'm a member. There are over 600 of us in that WhatsApp group. You know, even this program, they've been bombarding my phone, and I've been saying, who is doing this? I'm here. I'm seeing things with my eyes and hearing with my ears. But the point I want to make is that, one, this whole issue about transparency and accountability is very important. And a lot more needs to be done in that regard, to communicate to the people. Sometimes the conversation is just at elite level. And, you know, big men are talking to big men, you know, among themselves. I think we need to do a lot more in that regard. Otherwise, you will not find a kind of complaint that, oh, certain people don't have access to information and civil society needs to be involved in the exercise. I also say, well, I find it interesting that today, this same today, Akisan is taking place. Akisan is the Akwa Ibom State Association in the United States. And the state government is sending a delegation of 5. And I assume that some of the presentations here will also be made there. And that's also a good idea, involving the diaspora. And then taking the message to the grassroots. I also understand from that our WhatsApp group that on Saturday there's going to be a town hall meeting by the governor in Uyo here. Maybe that town hall meeting should not be restricted to Uyo alone. There should be town hall meetings giving account to people in other areas. Now, I've seen all the programs, projects, achievements outlined. The question to ask is, all those projects, were they backed by a needs assessment? Or is it a top to the bottom consideration, whereby the state government just says, oh, I think this is what they need in this part of the state, and you just give them what you think they need? Because it's only when there is proper needs assessment and consultation and a feedback mechanism. Do we also have in place a feedback mechanism where the people can approach government and say, well, this is what we think is very right? Finally, I'm trying to summarize. I was surprised that the governor was saying the National Bureau of Statistics is not giving correct data on some of the details. Now, in Q1 2018, this same Bureau of Statistics said unemployment rate in Akwa Ibom State was one of the highest, 33.37. Now, by Q3 2018, that had gone up to about 33.91%. That's unemployment rate. Underemployment was about 20.0%. Maybe there's been some improvement since then. But I said I was surprised because in 2023, November, if I recall correctly, His Excellency hosted, I think, the body of statisticians in Uyo. And on that occasion, you said, oh, you were impressed with them, I think even the MBS, because they are standardized and modernized their measurement process. Only to hear today that you are saying, well, the same MBS is not doing what you expect. Well, okay, maybe you said you need to engage them more. Okay, so, okay, that would be a takeaway for me, that, you know, you need to do a lot more at the level of engagement so that there will be no controversy or doubts between the statistics that the state brings and what the National Bureau of Statistics measures. Finally, in God we trust, all others must bring data. Faith is one thing, actual performance is another. What the state government has done today is to bring data as the basis for planning. And this is the basic principle that Professor Ekpo started with, that look, without data, there can be no planning. And that's why those next steps are important and how those next steps are processed. Thank you for the invitation. When next I visit, I'll make sure it's a Friday.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abati. I'll hand over again to the panel, but I think I may want to add that we can make today a Friday for Dr. Abati.
Very quickly.
Here.
Thank you so
panel,
much.
Please.
Thank you so much, Morgan. We will do that. Distinguished Prof, before you give the wrap-up, I think it's important a few issues be put in perspective. Teacher Bolton talked about transparency, budget, publication, and all of that. I want to say to him that Akwa Ibom State budget, the budgeting process is very transparent. It's up there on the website. Anybody can look it up. It's on the last quarter's appraisal was done. I'm not sure he was in that room because I was there, and people were there, and the presentation was made with all the numbers outlined for the people and the public and the press to follow. I needed to just put that in perspective. And for Dr. Abati, he talked about the town hall. Yeah, the town square meeting, good enough you know about that of Uyo. That's been going on in all the federal constituencies. That has been going on. And you talked about having citizens input to projects and programs of government. That has been the approach, because if you have the opportunity, I think we will make this available to you. So if you look at the promises the governor made in his electioneering campaign in all 31 local government areas, he's taking these promises one after the other based on the requests of the people at that time. And we had this documented because we followed through, and the documentation is there. We'll let you see it so that you see that he's methodically taking them out. And he's not just ending there. He's gone now back to brief the people on what is done and asking for the needs document of every federal constituency made up of their local government areas. They come together, present the needs document of what they want done that will be included in the people's budget of 2026. So that is the approach. I just needed to put that in perspective. And finally, you talked about feedback mechanism. That is the essence of the town square. And that's also the essence of what His Excellency is doing here today, getting feedback, letting people speak up, make contributions to governance. I thank you so much, Dr. Abati and Tija. On this note, I will hand back to the lead discussant to give us a wrap-up, sir.
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. I just want to also say that what the state government is doing is the right direction, because a state like ours, the government has to be a catalyst in major projects, and at some point decide when to disinvest. The private sector is one engine of growth, but it's not an engine of development. The state government is doing the right thing, start all these industries, but to know when to get out. Okay? So, secondly, the delivery unit you set up is very, very important, but I want to add something in case you don't have global best practice. You need to get an outsider once in a while to do the monitoring and evaluation. That's the global best standard. If you use internal people, fine, but because somebody outside to actually do that. Yes. Second or third, even though you're not borrowing now, we don't know what will happen tomorrow or whatever, it is good to have a reserve fund. In other words, no matter how small, even if you have to save, as an example, 1 million naira every month as a reserve fund, of course it will be invested. So that in terms of emergency, okay, you can draw on that fund and put conditions how that fund can be accessed. That's how states grow, or economies grow. The last, Nigeria runs a federal system, but we want to make it a competitive federalism, where this state will be so resilient, the economy will so grow that we don't have to go to Abuja. People will be coming here to invest in the state. Okay? We call it in economics voting with your feet. Okay? People will walk down to Akwa Ibom and stay here. We don't have to run to Lagos or run to Abuja. So all what you are doing should end up in that direction. And Mr. Governor, sir, you cannot be everywhere. You must have people who are dedicated, committed to assisting you. You delegate, if you don't do it, you fire them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. our distinguished lead discussant and professor. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you so much, Terry. On this note, Your Excellency, respectfully, I want to thank you for the opportunity of this discussion and the opportunity of moderating this panel. On this note, Your Excellency, I want to request your permission to respectfully present once again to the public a compendium brief on the accomplishments of His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Umar, and a PhD in the past 2 years of his administration, with the rider celebrating excellence in governance. This is a compendium brief that has textual and pictorial evidences of what we have experienced here under the Governor's leadership. Your Excellency, I will ask your indulgence to present to the panelists, and I'll step down to you and request you to respectfully present to the honorable ministers and your guests, sir. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Please, as you receive, I would crave our indulgence to just give it a minute so we can take a group photograph before the panelists will come down. Just one photograph. Thank you very much. Please, we can have the panelists come down with their copies of the blueprint. And then, of course, the Commissioner for Information to approach His Excellency the Governor to also have His Excellency present to our guests who are nearing the end. But, of course, this end is very, very, very important. Please, can we put our hands together one more time as we celebrate and appreciate the panelists? We truly appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you, the brass band. Thank you, the brass band. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, the panel was quite profound on everything they said, amazing. Just that it ended on a very scary note as we move on to the next item. When Professor said you delegate, if they don't do it, you sack them. I got very scared. And I hope that His Excellency did not hear that part. I beg you, sir, don't hear that part. We'll take a few remarks, comments from our guests who have come here. The first will be from the Statistician General of the Federation, represented at this event by Chief Austin Oyakora. Please, can we put our hands together as we welcome him for the remarks from the Statistician General of the Federation. You go to your left.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. MC. The Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Umoeno, I say good afternoon to you, sir. The Deputy Governor, Her Excellency, good afternoon, ma. My minister, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, His Excellency, most distinguished Senator Atiku Abubakar Bagudu, I say good afternoon, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to stand or sit on the existing protocol because the day is long past. I'm here representing the Statistician General of the Federation, who is unavoidably absent. In fact, he's on another trip to the United States, So he asked me to come and felicitate with His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, and the government of Akwa Ibom State. I don't want to take your time so much. Throughout His Excellency's speech, I didn't get any controversy between the Bureau and Akwa Ibom State government. It was more of agreement to partnership that the state government is going to work with National Bureau of Statistics in all areas of statistics, especially to validate what we're presented here. So the Statistician General have asked me to tell you that as a bureau which is in charge of the National Statistical System, that we are open to that collaboration. So many presentations were made here in various areas, in various sectors, from health to agriculture to technology and all the rest. So the promise is that we will partner with you, work with you to validate all these numbers, because it is our job as the bureau in charge of the statistical system in Nigeria to validate all statistical numbers. Again, Professor Akpanepo, my very good senior, he was DG at YFM, and I work with him seriously over there. And the panelists, they've said a lot of things, from this issue of state GDP compilation to even consumer price index compilation, which is to measure inflation in all areas, in all sectors in Akwa Ibom State. So again, the Statistician General have asked me to assure you that we're going to partner with you to compile your state GDP. We're going to partner with you to compile your consumer price index and measure your inflation within the state. So I thank you very much, and I don't know how to express my happiness to you and to the people of Akwa Ibom State, and back to him for our presence here. But I want to assure you that everything will go well when we start the partnership. Thank you very much, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We thank you too. Thank you, the brass band. Your Excellency, the next person to speak will be Professor Abba Gambo, who is representing the DG of Nigeria Governors Forum.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, my very dear friend, the golden boy, Nobody has ushered that word since I came in, the golden boy. So I bring you extra sincere felicitations from my DG, Dr. Abdulatif Shitu, and the entire staff of the Nigerian Governors Forum. Now, I just want to make a statement. I'm not a new person. The Arise agenda, the A, under agriculture, I was part and parcel of it. You invited me, I worked on that agenda. And I remember I was the class captain of the agricultural thematic area. And I remember you calling me my class captain. That's a good thing. So I feel part and parcel of it. 2 years after, the product we produce has given branches all over and with plenty of fruit. Congratulations, Your Excellency, sir. Now at the Nigerian Governors Forum, we do a kind of state-by-state sectoral analysis, looking at the performances, institutional framework, etc. You know what? If you are a country, Akwa Ibom will be more than 40 different African countries. Not among your peers as states, but as you are now, you are more than 37 different African countries. I'm telling you, the records are there. Look at the performances. Peace, security, agricultural indices, performances in education, the healthcare, the tourism sector, virtually every aspect. Honestly. Now I want to confess a little bit. Before you came in, I was following and greeting everybody, the head of service, the Honorable Chief Judge, my Lord, and then the other people. And then I spoke to the director, DSS, and your Commissioner for Internal Security, that fine general sitting there. You know, up north, security is a very serious issue. As I'm talking to you, some farmers cannot access their farms in some states. And let's tell ourselves the truth. Is there any farmer in Akwa Ibom that cannot access his or her own farm? No. And in Akwa Ibom, virtually everybody is a farmer. Is it not true? Then definitely, if we're talking about food security, which is the #1 state in Nigeria, Deputy Governor, I thank you. Most distinguished Senator, I thank you. Your Excellency, I was talking to the very humble Chief Judge of the state, and then I asked her a question. I said, how many governors have you sworn in? She said, I did one, and I'm waiting to do the second one in 2 years. And I think the message is clear, not from the legal perspective, but from the academia where I come from. If she said she's going to do another one in 2 years, Your Excellency will be here in 2 years for another swearing-in ceremony for your second term as the governor of this state. And then finally, I want to talk about your personality. I'm telling you, I was talking to your Commissioner of Budget. Without borrowing, you are doing all this. I said, how are you handling it? Really? It's not easy. When you look at the debt profile of other states, and then you are not having a single debt, then it makes everything amazing. But then I'm not surprised, honestly. Your intellect, your vision, your mission, your proactiveness, your pragmatism, your respectability, your responsibility, your receptibility, your acceptability, your adaptability, your humility, and care for all and sundry has raised your standard in this country among your fellow governors. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. We have a presentation. As I was coming, the Nigerian Governors Forum gave me a presentation to make to Your Excellency. Permit me to do the presentation now. Thank you. On behalf of the Director General of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Dr. Abdul-Latif Shitu, I, Professor Abba Gambo, the Agric Advisor to the Nigerian Governors Forum, I have the singular honor and privilege to present to you the Best Governor Award of the year 2024. You're worthy of it, and you deserve it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please celebrate the best governor of the year 2025. Congratulations, Your Excellency. Thank you, the band. Thank you, the brass band. Congratulations, Your Excellency. And thank you, Prof. Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, the Deputy Governor, my senior brother, Honorable Minister of Budget and National Planning, the Chief Judge, distinguished senators, representative of the Governors Forum, honorable members, and the panelists, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today is a wonderful day, a day that has not happened before in Akwa Ibom State. So I celebrate the governor. I bring you felicitations from my boss, our boss, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I bring you greetings from your own, the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio. While I was seated there, beginning from the State Secretary presentation to the Governor, to the Executive Advisor, to the Akipok man, right inside me, I was feeling my senior brother, His Excellency Senator Bagudu, former governor of Kebbi State, thinking, is it possible for me to take Governor Omono to come and be governor of Kebbi State? I have served for 2 terms. I cannot be governor again. And today, he has been given honor as the best governor by the Governors Forum. Can we rise up and celebrate our own? Your Excellency, Pastor Omar Basie, PhD. Thank you very much. Please, can we sit down? We have to celebrate what we have. And this scorecard that he has presented today has never happened. 2 years into the administration, he has decided to call the critical stakeholders, the distinguished senators, House of Reps members, House of Assembly members, the critical stakeholders of Akwa Ibom State, and say, this is what I've done within these 2 years, under a rice agenda. Has it happened before? No. It takes a man with golden heart, a man who is ready to serve, who is ready to accept criticism, constructive criticism, to do what he has done. So we need to celebrate him. We need to encourage him to move ahead, because by tomorrow, Akwa Ibom will be a different place. Now they have rolled out so many projects and lining up about 50 projects again. After 2031, what would the next governor come in to do? Is he not coming in to service all what has been established? Congratulations, Your Excellency. What do we expect a man to do? He came in, met a bill of over 90 billion, pension and gratuities. He has paid 78. How many is remaining within 2 years? Can't we celebrate a man like that? We should celebrate him. Your Excellency, you are doing well. You are in Akwa Ibom for a mission. You are a Democrat. You resume office. You did not look about issue of political parties. You carried everybody along. No wonder you are performing with what has been rolled out. Let me tell you, sir, Professor Chris Ekong joined APC in 2015. He was the one coming out. He didn't join APC in the last 2 months, like you and others joined. He has been in APC since 2015. He's the one that come out. Opposition always criticized, but he came out and rolled out everything, which means in APC and you in PDP, he was admiring what you were doing. And so you need to be celebrated. I'm happy to come from Akwa Ibom State. And we have only one Umano in the whole world. And that Umano is from our Akwa Ibom State. Your Excellency, congratulations. We'll continue to support you. All the observations, I'm happy I saw Nancy for the first time physically. I've been seeing her on television. Thank you for bringing Nancy for me to today. All what they have been observing, all observations, I believe you have taken note of all those things. You have started. And so perfection cannot come at once. And whosoever carries something to the public needs some input so that he can improve upon that. And I believe by the time we come back next time, it will be wonderful. Congratulations, and God bless Akwa Ibom State and the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, with the way the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources speaks, and with the way Professor Abba also spoke, I would have been threatened if I would still be on this job tomorrow. All the adaptability, transparency, humility, only a state MC should do that, but he did for you. Please, can we celebrate all of them one more time? As I bring the last speaker today, Your Excellency, please allow me to acknowledge respectfully the presence of the representative from the CBN, Mrs. Njideka Nwabuku. We appreciate you and we thank you. Let me thank our royal fathers who have been here from the start till now. Paramount rulers, you're truly honored. The spiritual fathers who pray for Akwa Ibom State, we thank you for coming to see the result of your prayers. And of course, the security commanders, chairmen of local government areas, we honor you and we appreciate all of you. But it is now time for us to hear from the Honorable Minister in charge of the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, a man who served as governor and therefore understands what we're here doing. Please, can we put our hands together, celebrate His Excellency Abubakar Atiku Bagudu.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Umo, the Deputy Governor, members of the State Assembly, the Chief Judge of the State, National Assembly members, my brother, the Minister of State Petroleum, Gas, Ekperek Piko Ekpo, my colleagues, Senators Ekon Sampson, and my boss, Senator Bob F. Young, and another boss also, Senator Aloysius Etuk, as well as Senator Helen Esweni. Let me, the representative of the Governors Forum, I'm here with the Director, Economic Growth in the Ministry, members of the Akwa Ibom State Executive Council. Good afternoon all. And let me first start by thanking His Excellency for inviting me. And I'm very, very honored for the invitation. And I'm very honored to be here to witness what I've had, social impact of Arise. And not only what I had, it helps me in my job because as Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, I'm implementing the National Planning Commission Act because our constitutional federalism envisaged that the three tiers of government should work together. In fact, it directs that. Section 13 of our Constitution direct all those in authority, legislative, executive, and even judicial, to work together in furtherance of the achievement of the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state. And the oath of office, all of you swore into, which is contained in the Constitution, is explicit about the fundamental of achieving the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state. And therefore, to be invited to witness the interrogation of an agenda by a state is both laudable and commendable, and one of those few things, few in our national polity. When President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu unfolded the Renewed Hope agenda, which incorporate elements like, let us confront our reality, we are not where we want to be, let there be no blame game, but let us have a strategy which we can speak to, for which we can be held accountable, and which we can interrogate. And today we have Arise, or rather we have listened to Arise, which is in similar way, Ben, because when His Excellency spoke earlier today, and that's one of the very reasons I like listening to him and actually celebrating him as one of the beacons of light in our society, because even today, when he spoke, he literally, the critic in him actually quoted Peter Drucker, and he said what he was doing. So even for those comments, he has laid the foundation, because he said you cannot improve what you cannot measure. So in his characteristic humility, he said, here's what we have done in 2 years. I'm inviting responses, acknowledging that I have done well does not mean I cannot do better. Congratulations, Your Excellency, and well done for that humility. And you equally captured the moment that we are a federation, and not necessarily a competitive one, like the professor said, but constitutionally a cooperative one. And when the head of delivery unit was speaking, he repeatedly said, consistent with our national development plan, because you, as one of those beacons of light in Nigeria, is one that believes for any subnational to work, any state to achieve its objective, we should build a Nigeria that works for all. And that's what you are building in Akwa Ibom. And I'm very proud of you. Unlike my sister Nancy Ilo, I happened to sleep in Uyo on June 5th, which is Eve of Salah, the Eid al-Kabir. And in the morning of the 6th, which is Eid al-Kabir, one of your aides graciously arranged for a vehicle to take me to the Eid ground in University of Uyo. And I was there early, and I was there with one vehicle. So I had the opportunity about 2 hours to interact with a broad spectrum of Nigerians, particularly from other states, from Oshun, from Borno. I met students from Army Air Force Command School. All of them that I spoke with sent me then to a message. It was a message to you to say thank you, because they describe a state that is peaceful, is welcoming, that is accommodative, that under your leadership is including all. Why do I mention that story? Because it resonates with the social impact assessment we are doing today. Because I met two tailors, one of them from Oshun, one of them from, I believe, Nasarawa State. And I asked them, but how do you get business here? How do you know? Well, one of them, the person from Oshun, answered that this is a state where if you are willing to put effort, you will be rewarded. That is the golden dream of all we are doing. So congratulations, and thank you for the achievements being recorded. Yes, some of the observations are correct. You are leading with state resources that the reforms in the last 2 years have helped in mobilizing, and there could be some risk. But most of what I saw are capable of absorbing investment from investors that are out there with little risk. So we see an agenda arise for a state that is on the rise. And congratulations. And you, Your Excellency, also spoke about the National Bureau of Statistics, which is one of the agencies I supervise. And you made the important point of collaboration, but also the important point of states having their own statistical agencies, which you have done. Methodologies, sample sizes are things that have to be interrogated and have to be understood, because quite often when we don't understand them, even the statistics that are produced can be puzzling and confusing. We struggle as a nation under the presidential directive to ensure that National Bureau of Statistics remain absolutely independent. But even me as supervising minister, sometimes I have headache with some methodologies, but I support them, I support what they do, and therefore that observation is quite apt. Your Excellency, like I said, I've always enjoyed listening to you, and you are a very, very deeply philosophical person, peaceful and philosophical. And your actions and what I saw today, all the comments reflect the fact that you are not just saying those things. Those things are emanating from your belief system, what you believe and what you communicate and what you live by. When you quoted Deepak Chopra, that the choices that we make determine the future we want built. Arise is the choice that you made, an excellent choice for the people of Akwa Ibom, but more than the people of Akwa Ibom, also for Nigerians. Mr. President, your brother, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, have challenged us that by 2030 we shall be a $1 trillion economy. I feel comforted sitting there because I saw one of the elements towards a $1 trillion economy. And because we are a federalism, because we are responsible for monitoring and evaluating all state plans, this is something that we will share with others, not to copy from, but to be encouraged so that they can evolve their own strategies that they will speak to consistently. One strategy may differ from. It's amazing that Akwa Ibom will unfold a strategy with the first being agriculture, second being rural empowerment, the third being infrastructure, the fourth being security, the fifth being education. One will have thought to see energy first. But you believe that as you have shared your experience with your farm, that this is a state that will compete with Netherlands in agricultural, and it can. It can. It has all the ingredients, and so that speaks to the consistency of the strategy and the agenda, and I'm really, really, truly honored to be here, and I congratulate you. I congratulate the Akwa Ibom people, of which we all are in this agenda, and I congratulate Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his leadership. Last week, with your support and to complement what is being done, we unfolded the Renewed Hope World Development Plan, some of the ingredients of which I have already seen here. And the whole idea is to identify at least 1,000 economically active individuals in each of the 8,809 wards in Nigeria, that the combination and totality of local government, state government, federal development financing, and private capital will come and support, so that they will blossom into companies, into enterprises, and to borrow from Nancy, move from empowerment to entrepreneurship. It is already happening in Akwa Ibom State, and I congratulate my brother, his governor, and the people of Akwa Ibom. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Now for the vote of thanks, which will be the penultimate item before we close with the national anthem, I want to welcome Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, distinguished Senator Dr. Mrs. Akun Eyarenyi. Please can we celebrate her as she comes forward. Immediately after the vote of thanks, we will take the anthem to close.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, a gift from God for the state. The best Governor of the Year, declared today by the Governors Forum and all others that we listen to. The Chief Judge, our special guest from Abuja, the honorable ministers, critical stakeholders, National Assembly members, please permit me to acknowledge everyone in the House. I stand here today fulfilled, very happy, very excited to return all glory unto God Almighty, because my job here is just to thank and appreciate God and everyone. In every season, God has planned for particular places and so on. And for this season, his gift, his plan for Akwa Ibom State is the gift of Pastor Umar Eno, PhD. And to him, we return all glory. I stand here today to appreciate all visitors from Abuja, the ministers, the National Assembly, brothers that came in to witness what God is doing in Akwa Ibom State using Pastor Umoino. I stand here today to appreciate the engine room, the first 11, the people that work with the governor. They listen to him, he will push them, they will stand to do what they are directed to do. I'm talking about the ESCO, all the delivery advisors, all the people around the government. You've done a great job to enable the vision of the governor come to light. I stand here to appreciate the panelists that came here with free mind. They listened to the presentations and they were able to pick one thing or the other to tell the governor, yes, you've done well, but this one and this one and this one, it was very good, so we appreciate you. But I want to say that in almost, if not all, the issues raised by the panelists, as they will raise it, the governor will just say, it is here, we've started. It is here, we've started. Like saving of resources for a rainy day in Akwa Ibom State, we can stand very bold and proud to say that Akwa Ibom State can stand any form of rain by God's special grace based on the vision that the governor sees about tomorrow, and he has started that. And other things I don't need to go into. To our Superman, Uncle Abati, that's what my children call you. Thank you for coming, and I know we will have good report from you. To everyone in this hall, we acknowledge you and we appreciate you for coming to sit down with us, to listen and to contribute. May the Lord bless all of us. As we return, God will take us back safely. But before I drop this mic, let me thank one man that people don't usually remember to appreciate. Barrister Morgan Ekanem, thank you. The brass band, thank you. The press, thank you. God bless you all.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this very strategic engagement. Appreciate all of you, and I ask that we please rise as we end with the national anthem. The anthem, please. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
We are moving forward together. Let us
Federal constituency summer yeah ajayu yi summer yeah uyo federal constituency adodogo uyo urwan ibesipo sultan mensre dai esnu yu kopien adodogo amani sonke me ndrigbe ku karina ngame ebo arike ne wana ke mbok isang udum nkor muforo ado adai wuru kar state ni his excellency pastor umo basie no phd abenne adi efa constituency ni mbogo adi dadi tie ke satiro se no fi socket ke fi chai swame ke wa ibom hall ko song ibb meku yo ke nkane ke ita uweme yo pastor umo basie no adodogo dai wuru kar state ni ayebado kapien isom miso ku senado na fori tang fno kang mofo anonye ku temme ba orutu ambofio uyi somo iya ajayu yi somo iya mparawa isongi demo iban mubo ipa uyo federal constituency ino uyo Ejobo mi eto Right Honorable Eldania Kanuko PhD eri ongenti iboro kam ati wundu tam uswane to kembonomi Uyo Federal Constituency somo yeah ajayu yi somo yeah Uyo Federal Constituency adodogo uyo urwan ibesipo sultan mensre dai esnu yu kopien adodogo amani sonke me ndrigbe ku karina ngame ebo arike ne wana ke mbok isang udum nkor muforo ado adai wuru kar state ni his excellency pastor umo basie no phd abenne adi efa constituency ni mbogo adi dadi tie ke satiro se no fi socket ke fi chai swame ke wa ibom hall ko song ibb meku yo ke nkane ke ita uweme yo pastor umo basie no adodogo dai wuru kar state ni ayebado kapien isom miso ku senado na fori tang fno kang mofo anonye ku temme ba orutu ambofio uyi somo iya ajayu yi somo iya mparawa isongi demo iban mubo ipa uyo federal constituency ino uyo Ejobo mi eto Right Honorable Eldania Kanuko PhD eri ongenti iboro kam ati wundu tam uswan